All right. And we are live, and Nova is giving his amazing pose. There you go. Flex it out a little more. Come on, show us those guns.
Eat your heart out, Michelangelo. This is the real David right here. I don't know. It's historical stuff.
Oh, man. Anyway, welcome, everybody, to In the YGO. We are in episode 13, Ghosts to Come. And we're literally going to be talking about ghosts to come, because there are a lot of ghosts coming. If you guys haven't already known, we have found... ghosts have been spotted all throughout the internet, and they will be released from their shackles in a couple of months, and I really wish that it would come a lot faster, because I'm super excited for one in particular. But anyway, before we get into what we're actually going to be talking about, how are my co-hosts GoldenNovaYugioh, who has now become a regular on the show, and JC Theater YGO? How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Just we had some wonderful games yesterday, which will be showed off to you, all of you, soon. Yeah, we're just having a pretty chill Sunday. How y'all doing?
I'll go. I'm doing pretty good as well. Definitely a chill Sunday for sure. I guess I'm feeling a little tired from yesterday's duking it out and everything. Like Nova said, we will be showing those off on the channel here, Jello's channel here that you're watching us from real soon, starting sometime. I don't remember the schedules at all, but it'll be a real blast once you guys see that. But the most important thing is that it is just a nice, chill, relaxing Sunday, despite the very scary and real implication that there are ghosts haunting the Yu-Gi-Oh community for sure, which we'll get into a little later. But how are you doing, Jello?
I'm doing pretty good. Like you guys said, it was a pretty crazy night last night. For those of you who do not understand what we were talking about, we played and recorded the games for Out of the Box Arc 2 last night. We started at like 8 in the evening at my in my time zone, and we finished at 12 past. Probably like half past 12. So it was a crazy time. It took all of my energy, and now I'm but a husk of the filthy casual that you all used to know. And you can tell from my hair that I haven't even like fully washed up yet. I literally just woke up at 12 o'clock today, had lunch, and then laid down for the entire day because I had no energy. But yeah, that is pretty much it for catching up. If you guys are wondering why we don't have that much of an intro this week, is because even though this podcast only happens once every 2 weeks, the three of us see each other a lot. So we are all pretty much caught up on each other's lives at this point. So we apologize for any secrets that are kept behind the overlay of this podcast. But anyway, if you guys wanted to know what we're doing, you can always just follow us on Twitter, and you'll find out.
Yeah.
The links to all of those are right there. All of our Twitter handles are right there. But anyway, guys, speaking of being in the YugiKnow, a set was just released, and I believe we have all been sort of affected by it, or at least seen some of the things that have happened since that set has been released, and that is Blazing Vortex. I opened up 2 boxes, JC's opened up 2 boxes, and I believe Nova has seen us open those 2 boxes each. So what are your...
I'm keeping my hands free of all that.
That's why we're here. But anyway, but we will be doing a little fun bit on today's show. I have evolved from a primitive monkey to a primitive monkey with better OBS controls, so we will be showing you guys a tier list of everything in Blazing Vortex. But before we get into that, what is your opinion on this set? I'll start with JC, since you opened up some of this set in person and stuff.
I liked it. It's not a bad set to me. I say this with a bias since I did pull Pot of Prosperity.
Money.
Right? Is that the TCG?
Yes.
Yeah. I pulled my money back. Yeah, exactly. I at the same time, I feel like, as opposed to Phantom Rage, there are some cards in this set that I didn't like. I felt like some of my higher rarity slots were taken up by things I didn't care about. I would even prefer like the War Rock stuff over and I'm sorry, Nova in particular, but I didn't care the Eldritch Ultra and Secret. I pulled the fusion and the spell, and they took up an Ultra and a Secret spot for me that I just sold on the day that the set came legal on TCG Player, that came available. I sold all my stuff like that, and also S-Force I don't care about, which as opposed to again, Phantom Rage is the last main set I touched. This time a major archetype that's in all the rarity slots, S-Force, I didn't care about. I don't really like the aesthetic or anything like that. So it's more of a dud than Phantom Rage, but I still liked it overall, and I picked up all my singles that I didn't get from purchasing my 2 boxes and pulling. So I'm pretty satisfied with the set, but it's kind of mid-tier, but I wouldn't say it was a failure by any means. How are either of you? Oh, I hit my hand. How are either of you feeling with the set?
You want to go first, Nova?
Yeah, I want to just touch on a point that JC pulled up about being sorry about not liking pulling the Eldritch stuff. Hey, I'm on board with that. I hate that guy. He walks into my channel and starts trying to take over how things run. I'm not about that life. No, burn him. I don't care. But no, I think it's fine. I think it's just a serviceable set. It sucks whenever you have a product that has stable pricing, like everything is supposed to cost the same MSRP, and then you have some sets that just don't deliver. But the variance of card design is going to mean that you're going to have sets that just aren't, flashy or really cool or meta affecting all the time. And I think Blazing Vortex is just one of those. And I think that the negative reaction is kind of previous thoughts that people have had towards it coming to light, a TCG exclusive archetype that was really hyped ended up being Unga Bunga. A lot of legacy support being relegated to single card copies, so you don't get huge updates on them, so it doesn't feel like it affects those archetypes super much. And then also just having a very prevalent, powerful metagame previously, and then Blazing Vortex not adding anything to change that can also lead to some negative feelings. All that being said, it's still fine. It's got Spriggans. Spriggans are fun. Go play Spriggans. It's got Security Force. That's the thing that I'll fight JC on. They don't look interesting. That's fine. It's because you just don't got a big brain enough for them. It's got column play. If you play Mech Knights, you play play Security Force, you're a polymath. You got a 4.0 on your GPA. And you will ascend when the time comes.
I'm sticking with my Magical Musketeers for my column-based shenanigans.
Okay, never mind.
So
okay, we'll take that. That's fine.
That's to the extent.
I give you back your column player card. You're fine now.
Oh, man.
Jello, how you
doing? I feel like I've said this so often on the show, but I really like the set. The fact still stands that it did not change anything within the meta, barring probably Pot of Prosperity, because that thing is absurdly expensive right now, and I'm probably going to sell the one copy that I have for a playset of all the Lost Art Harpies. But other than that, Security Force, I think that it looks fun. At least their Link monster does. Since it's a Cyburst monster, I can chuck it into my Code Talker deck and maybe try to do something with Aura Fist as well. You know, just
Ooh.
but we'll have to see where that goes. The But other than that, War Rocks were okay. I don't like that I lost an Ultra and a Secret to a Mountain and a big dude with a... I don't even know what he's holding, but I got the Chief and the Mountain, so I have the Kingdom. But yeah, like this set, like all sets, it was fun to open and not really fun to reap the rewards off of it. Oh yeah, I got that Link 5 Fiend monster, which is really fun for which a lot of people like putting in their live twin decks. I believe they just leave an IP Masquerena on their field, and the next turn you can Masquerena your opponent's monster and link summon for that thing. So that's pretty fun. So I'm really happy I made my money back on the set. The set itself is is sort of disappointing for you know, the more competitive aspect of things, and also as an opening channel, not really being able to make any decks out of it from what I have to pay to put content out on my channel, or as people think I've stopped making stuff. It was a little saddening, but I like that Spriggans are relatively low cost in terms of buying everything. You can get a deck core on eBay for like $20 or something, because the highest rarity card is Explorer, and everything else is uncommon.
Globalization.
I know. And another thing,
Explorer.
actually, it's Springans. I didn't even notice it until I actually drew it. And so I'm just gonna jump into the chat real quick, because there's some context that I'll miss if I don't do it right now.
Hey, Doncho.
Terrio Frost says, "Please love me, senpai." There we go. Dancho, hello. Thank you for watching Out of the Box. Really appreciate it. Like Simon says, "Hope you're all doing good." So guys, what about Maxi coming off the ban list? Has the time finally come? Not sure yet. For some reason, all the bots on Dueling Nexus seem to still be able to use it, even though you're using a TCG ban list. And Ancient Warrior support is actually kind of cool. Yes, Rebellious Lu Feng was one of the most pretty looking cards in that set, besides Live Twin Lila Treat, which I regrettably did not pull out of 2 boxes. And for some reason, no one is selling them where I live. So it really sucks. But yeah, I feel like I've lost my train of thought, so I'm gonna stop here. But it was a fun set to open. The contents were okay. I feel like this was a lot more fun to open for me compared to Rising Rampage back then, because I was just pulling blisters and literally never got anything out of that set. But you know what, guys? 2020 was a really good year for sealed product, so I think Konami has the right to be pretty bad at the beginning of this one. I think we can give it to them for this, because if you think about it, the 2021 Megatins are going to be fire. They will light your hands on fire the second you touch them, because you know that no matter what, you're getting something good out of those things. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm selling my Zeuses now. Anyway, that's all I have. Oh man.
Smart, frugal business decisions as usual.
Well, I'm just putting it back into my cash flow for Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'm not really making any money. I'm just like, this is a box. This is another box. Dancho says this box doesn't look good, but it isn't good, but it looks fun. Yeah, it definitely is. It is fun.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually looking at Springans for a while, and I'm just glad that I like the only things I really need to get now are like 2 copies of Gold Golgonda, and I don't know how many more explorers I need. Do I need to play a playset of that, or am I good at 1?
2's fine. I think 2's fine.
All right, I'll just get 1 more. But anyway, guys, we have a tier list of Blazing Vortex that we will get into. JC Theater YGO has been kind enough to set up that for us, so we will be right back.
Okay. Oh, I should share my screen. Okay.
Yes. Everyone can
Hey,
still
if
hear
you
us,
want.
by the way. We're just behind the curtains. Ta-da! Oh, okay.
Whoa.
All right. All right. Before we get into this, Artist with a Fro is in the chat. Hey yo, Ghost Uncensored Dark Magician Girl, real or not? Only time will tell. I did not know that that was uncensored, because I literally couldn't see anything. But if it is uncensored, that'd be sick. So we'll just have to
Is
find
that
out.
what everyone was going crazy about? Not the ghost raring, but the fact that it's uncensored.
I think so. People will do anything for their lost arts. I know that I am. If anybody has any lost art harpy cards, please hit me up on Twitter, and we'll have a conversation. But yes. Anyway, this is the tier list for Blazing Vortex. JC, would you like to explain the mechanics of all of this? Oh, you and Nova are switched, so let me just get that switched around.
Okay, so while you swap us around, this is a basic tier list. I'm going to get into the actual what it looks like here. So I just made this on PowerPoint. The illusion is gone, the mystifyingness. That's the hidden secret behind everything. This is just a little thing I made on PowerPoint. It took me way too long to save all these little pictures, or find them, copy and paste them, get them all formatted like this. But I started the idea, so I had to finish it off this way and make the homemade tier list right here. So we didn't speak on how we would do this, but I'm thinking we should take a page out of the wonderful MST.TV's playbook of sorts with doing these with multiple people, where we can go around starting with Jello, then Nova, then I, and then back to Jello, and basically the person whose turn it is will be the ultimate decider on where it goes on the tier list. Just starting off with top left tier going down to bottom right. We'll probably all do this because the final thing we're going to rate is the set itself, and then of course we can all chime in to kind of state our case. If we're all on the same page, the floor is basically given mainly to the person whose turn, quote unquote, it is. That way we're not all just kind of restating the same thing if we all agree at the end of the day what certain things are. That'll make sense more in practice than how I'm describing it. But basically, I figured what better way to start off things than to just simply start with the cover card itself. And these are kind of most of them are of course pictures representing the archetypes. Some of these I'll have to explain a little more because they're more like categories as opposed to archetypes. But starting with Jello, how do you feel about the armed dragon thunder support in this set?
Well, I think the way that you did it is pretty accurate already. It can be anywhere on that scale. But I haven't fully watched. I'm exposing myself a little bit here, and I'm sorry, Tally, if you're watching this. But I do know that TCG Tally has done a 100 duels with armed dragons mixed in with dragon links. I haven't seen all 100 duels yet, but if they are splashable into a pretty proven and tested and proven archetype, I'd say that it is pretty good. But standalone, I don't know. I haven't tried playing this at all yet, so I would probably put it either in low A or high B. What do you guys think?
I kind of don't care about this archetype. I would probably rate it a little lower, but I do have GX nostalgia, as I think any Yu-Gi-Oh player, new and old, can attest to, because even if you started playing Yu-Gi-Oh today, those hero players will somehow find your address and send you the severed top part of a bubble man to let you know how serious they are about their heroes. I the Chaz just doesn't really do it for me, so I'm fine with wherever you put this. I'm gravitating towards B, but Nova, do you have a stronger case either way with this archetype, or does Jello kind of hit it on the head?
Oh, I've got one case. I've got 10 cases. I've got 100. I've got 1,000. I've got 10,000 reasons why Armed Dragon is the best deck in this format, but none of them are actually really good ones. No, it's actually pretty cool that it does work as some kind of generic discard fodder for Dragon decks, and it's its own pure deck, not very good. As a way to support other Dragon decks, I'm curious to see how it comes out. Flavor-wise, the fact that they gave Armed Dragon Thunder level 10's effect be dependent on attack values that mirror the Japanese version of Chaz's whole chat thing is divine. They need to do more stuff like this. If they had only just made it better, that would have just been like the cream of the crop. But as far as its just effect goes, I love it. So that's why it's going in B for me.
All right.
It's drawn down by a lot of
B,
downsides,
okay.
but my personal love for when things get good flavor just amps it up really well.
Yeah, we'll put it in high B. Put it in high B.
Okay, high B. So it'll be right there. I will admit I'm not a an expert on tier lists, so I don't know if high B's here,
Yeah,
or if
we'll
it's
just
like
keep
just
it
like
like at
close
the top
to
of the
B
line.
or what.
Yeah, let's keep it like closest to the
Okay.
letter when we start moving things around. All
Okay.
right.
Next up is, I think this is what, 4 or 3 cards the Fabled support in the set. Nova, the expert on the more obscure parts of the Yu-Gi-Oh landscape. How are you feeling about the Fabled support in the set?
Okay, so I'm looking up all the Fabled cards right now just so that I can look at them whenever we talk about them. That's because I actually don't know anything about how Fables work, and B, I actually don't know anything about how Fables work. No, I am going to be honest. It is a deck that they have like 5 cards for them now, and I don't really know how they interact with the deck previously. But I do know that they added as you show the picture, they've got a beaver now.
Yeah.
I love that beaver.
I have to search it up on my phone.
Lore implications wise,
I can't. I'm sharing my screen right now and I have the chat going on my phone, but all I gotta say is the art, like you're harping on the beaver, I definitely I like it too. I think that's the main thing. From what I know about Fabled is there's the tiny like beasts, I want to say. I don't know if they're all beasts, but they're like animals, and then like fiends, and they're fiend lights, and they all have to do with discarding. I think like they're like, you know how Dark Worlds have to be discarded by an effect and not like a cost, and then it confused me for like 8 years. These I think don't have that problem if I remember correctly. So it's like just like an easier window into the discarding archetype community in a sorts. They were big in, not big, but like I know them from like, you know, 5D's era, of course, because it's a 5D's era archetype, because at the end of the day they have synchro monsters to go into, which we got a new synchro monster as well. I couldn't tell you the effect of a single one of these cards though. So I'm basing it just on the artwork. I know you didn't say where you want to place it, so I'm gonna wait and have you set the bar, and then I'll like, you know, chime in with, oh, should it be higher or lower? But I don't know. My opinion is purely based off of this one image, actually, for the for the archetype in this set.
Yeah. So the ability of this card, for everybody who doesn't know, is if this card is in your graveyard, you can discard one Fabled monster, and if you do, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of the Fabled Abunk once per turn, or Abank.
Is it a tuner?
Yes, a
it's
level
a
2
tuner.
tuner.
Yes.
So
Okay. Yeah. Usually.
Yeah, I think this is I guess it's pretty good because I remember playing. I remember trying Fabled in Duel Links for a little bit, and the deck is okay. I guess in at least in that context. But I mean, it's a free special summon, and you get to proc something after that. So I guess it's pretty. I guess it has a pretty good use in the deck compared to other things that came out in this set. What do you think?
So I'm looking at more of these, and I landed on Fabled and Wraith, that new synchro that they have.
Oh yeah, the super.
And it's got like if it's special summoned, you can draw 2 and discard 1, unless your opponent decides to discard a card, which negates that effect. And that's I don't like it anytime my opponent has the ability to negate effects that I have. I guess it's kind of a balance by the fact that if your opponent sends any monsters from their hand, you get to special summon them. But I don't know if that stops the effect from triggering. Like if it's okay, I discard this to stop you, it immediately chains to take it out before the effect can trigger. Be the only thing that would make this card better. And if there's spells and traps that need to be in the grave, then that just completely bypasses that too.
Yeah, and the chat is saying the Doncho gives a good synopsis. It's small monsters that get effects when discarded and monsters that discard. And I believe those monsters, of course, I think Artist with the Fro mentions they are the light fiends. I don't know about their like you just mentioned, kind of. I'm not sure if their spell and traps matter if they're in the graveyard or not, or how they interact with it, but. Based off of, I guess, our very limited knowledge and our quick research, Nova, what's the final verdict on our little beaver friend here?
Put it in B for beaver.
Do you think they're the same level as the armed dragon support, which not only helps dragons far and wide, but gives nice nostalgia and cool Japanese references?
Okay, we could put it in F for Fabled. It's B or F.
No.
I know.
I don't know if it's
sorry.
that yet. We haven't gotten to our next one yet. I want to put it in D just because it has garnered absolutely zero hype. It came out, it was revealed, there was a lot of talk, and then no one said anything about Fable since then. And I think that has reflected with us, because we don't know anything about it. It hasn't drawn our attention. And just from looking at what was available here, the fact that they're still printing effects that let your opponent negate them on their terms is still like, well, thank you.
Okay, I just want to say something.
I just
want to
say real quick how you mentioned.
Okay, you can go first.
Okay, you can go ahead first.
You go ahead.
Oh, okay. Just real quick. Just off of what Nova said about how it was released and then like everyone on the planet forgot about it. I thought this was like an ice barrier card because it was released very close to the with that like fish thing, that the tadpole looking thing that's like supposed to be I think not a Gishki, the one blue Necroz like monster looking thing, I think is what it grows up into, right? Or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
So when I have such a strong parallel with these guys that I thought this was an Iceberry monster until I physically pulled it a week ago and I found out it was Fabled, which like it makes sense because I know they also have the little fiend tamer thing that is in all their artworks, the orange thing, but it just didn't click until then. But I just had to mention that. But Jello, what do you have to say about this guy?
So I was just reading chat while we were going through this, and Artist with a Fro said Lamau F for Fabled. I just want to put it out there in the clear that I am not bagging on any Fabled players. If you love if you love the Fabled deck, that's wonderful. I'm just saying that the new support, is either B for Beaver or F for Fabled. And Afro says,
I like D for discard. That was also a good one.
D for discard.
Yeah,
and that's where it went. So we're all good. It's D for decent.
So the point is, if you are a Fabled player, if you're someone who likes Fabled, please subscribe to the channel. You're welcome, Jello. I just got you 1 subscriber. So let, let's move on to the next cool archetype here from the set. I almost want to maybe do random going forward. This was already random, but like we can like see ahead to see what we get. So I don't know. Maybe I'll roll a die for these or something. But anyway,
Okay.
just for now, I guess I get the point of contention for a lot of people who it's been talked about for so long because it is a major point. Unga Bunga, as Nova put it earlier, War Rocks. So War Rocks were the TCG exclusive. Every time we get one of those, we're thinking, oh boy, here comes Dante. But no, instead we got Rocks That War. They aren't that good. I know that, and Nova, please chime in because I do sadly forget the name of the YouTuber that you shouted out, that I actually watched the video, them kind of going over the fact that War Rocks are good as a tool for learning. If you know what I'm talking about, Nova.
Yeah, Dire Yu-Gi-Oh.
Dire Yu-Gi-Oh. I swear I was going to say Dire, but I didn't want to like weirdly, say like someone else's name and then like they'd be like, I didn't do that. But yes, I saw Dire's video. And I know you shouted that out as well, that idea. And it is very accurate that this is a good way for players to learn more. One of the more articulate points of gameplay, and that's like the battle phase and damage step and all those steps and phases and all that stuff during interaction with battle. Ultimately, I don't know how, we never set the parameters on how we're actually scoring these. I guess overall just as like an idea or a high level concept maybe, because this is a deck that's very much power versus purpose. I think it comes down to the argument with this because the power isn't there, but I do think it has a purpose more than people give it credit for. So I want to hear, of course, both of what you guys think, but for now, I'm thinking this is probably a low C for me.
I could agree.
So what do you think? Yeah, go ahead, Jello. What do you think with this?
So in the chat, John R said F. Artist with a Fro says art-wise B tier, and I may have to even say I may even have to disagree on that and say that the art is very, very, like, I find it very lackluster. They could have done so much more with the Unga Bunga, because like like even if we were to like we troll around and say Unga Bunga, but like if this was like a Neolithic Stone Age kind of deck, then look at dinosaurs. They still have so much intricacy in their card design, and I feel like War Rocks just doesn't deliver. And if they are in a war and they are rock, then they probably lose to like Flower Guardians or something. But and probably beat Fright first. But I don't see it being anywhere higher than a C. I'd even say a D. Because partially because Mountain, which is like I feel like it's their enabler, like what they really need for the deck to start going is a secret. So it's not an expensive secret, but it's still a secret. So like if this, like I said before, if this was a deck for somebody to grab concepts and understand fundamentals, Konami's not making it easy by making this a secret. So
that makes sense.
Put that under the beaver.
I just want to real quick with what you're saying. The only reason why I don't think it's D tier is because I think overall, how like we're kind of just at the end of the day rating these off of like the essence they give off, since there's no like one parameter we're like tiering this list on. Yeah. I think these are better as a concept and idea than the Fabled support, right? Because at the very least they bring discussion. True, yeah. Speaking of discussion, though, how are you feeling about War Rocks, Nova?
Yeah, I can vibe with a lot of the complaints on that one. I would like to see where the secondary market goes on Warrock Mountain, because the out of the box ability of Warrocks is definitely suspect because of the high rarities of them. But hopefully, as things chill out, it'll become one of those dollar secrets that we see every once in a while. Like remember the forced checkpoint or something, that like trap card that was like, I'll look at your hand if you attack me directly, and then take a monster out of it, but then not do anything else, kind of thing. Hopefully we'll get that point, and then it'll become more accessible to buy singles of it. And see, we got to answer the question here, because JC kind of touched on this earlier. What makes an archetype? What is the essence that you can grade a collection of cards that are meant to play together? I would say that because of the absolute fervor that was inspired in the fan base, the discussions, the heated debates and arguments that people have been having up till this very podcast over the merits of this deck, something that not even Fabled could accomplish. This is easily S tier. Put her up there, baby. Let's go. Right up there. This is the most talked about deck ever. It's got that front page clickability. Let's go. S tier.
You just put it back in the waiting.
So
the waiting list.
That's where it should be. Undiscernible. It goes off screen. I will say, I don't think this is a rule, but technically this is I'm the one on the floor with this. So if this were yours, Nova, by all means, I wouldn't stop you from putting it in S tier. I think, whoever's like turn it is, they get the final say. But I don't think it is worth S tier, though I do respect the idea behind it. I think I'm so tier lists concerned with what else is on the list, as opposed to like randomly placing. I like the context kind of, so I can't see it being higher than the Armed Dragon stuff. So that's why you guys are pulling me two ways, down or up. I went with C tier though, and I think that is kind of in the middle. I hate to just stick with what I originally said because I do appreciate your input, but this is kind of in the middle where what you guys are saying anyway. So this is like high C tier. I'll say it's high. Okay. I guess we'll consider anything really close to the letter to be the best of their category. Right. Going forward, since this is Jello's turn, I'm gonna roll a die and just like the top 6, whatever it lands on. That way, it's a little more surprising, So that way you don't like know.
Thank you. Because I have no idea what the Wind Witches do. Oh, come on!
I'll roll again. Then okay, it landed on 2. You get
security force. Sweet. Okay, so security force. I love this this archetype. I don't know why. I just because
it's good. That's why.
I like to think of myself as like one of those blitz players. It's one of the reasons why I play heroes. I put one thing down and I just make your field explode. But when I used to play Magic the Gathering, I like to play a lot of green and blue. So there's a lot of field control, and I love watching my opponents not be able to do anything. So Justify does that really well. Their Link monster, and like I said, it is a Cybers monster, so it is really good in terms of being able to splash it into other Cybers based decks. Rappa Chiyomaru is beautiful. I am collecting binder pages of that, and the rest of the deck I haven't really put anything together yet because I'm still waiting to get stuff in the mail. I don't want to test online, but it is really it does seem really fun. Like anything that has to do with field manipulation is really great. You have one of the Link monster, and then you have 2 Aura Fists on the other side of your field, and your opponent can't do anything. So that's always really fun to me. And so I would put this... See, the only problem is the accessibility of it. Like, I know that the prices have calmed down a lot, but there are two secrets for this archetype in this set. Bridgehead being one of them, and Chiyomaru being the other. I'd probably put this at B behind Armed Dragons, because the deck does seem fun. I feel like people are just pooping on it because they don't look cool, but I like the archetype, so that's my opinion. What about you guys?
Nova, you can follow that up, because I have bad words for this archetype. So
How dare
you
you?
should start with some more.
Okay, all right. Well, let's front load this. Let's sugarcoat this as much as possible. So, I'm seeing in the chat something along the lines of S-Force is cool, but you can't play them until Lightning Overdrive. I vehemently disagreed. I've been in the tank for this. The deck has plays. It's just they're not intuitive. You need to think about what you can summon out of the deck that interacts with what you have to get your field out. Like, you wrap a Chiyomaru, you banish the Gravitino in hand to get Platina, which then summons back the Gravitino. That gets you like a search along the way, and then you can pick 2 zones to put attack debuffs and then Macrocosmos on stuff, which is ridiculous. And then you have stuff like the Quick Play spell, which can just slam down cards at quick effect speed to force your opponent, like force more restrictions, because those effects stack. It's not like Aurifist is in your lane, so you can't target that one. It's Aurifist is in the lane, so you can't target it. And also, I have Rapid Chiyomaru, so it can only attack what's in its column, like that kind of stuff. And I like that snowballing type advantage, where the more you have on field, the more debuffs you're giving your opponent. And Justify is just an insane boss monster. It's a ridiculous payoff for any deck. Like, no. I don't care what you're doing. I'm dragging you into whatever lane I need to debuff you. And then next turn, I am going to punch you out of the graveyard. Like, you're not going to... Right to the banished zone. I don't want to see you anymore. 3 of them. Like, it's ridiculous. I love S-Force. It's really good. Easily A tier.
A. That's...
Okay, so we got an A and a B.
Come on, JC.
Can I curse on this channel? Yellow?
Depends on the gravity.
PG-13.
Okay, go ahead.
My only argument is Konami knew S-Force was so booty that they named a card Orifice. So I know it was changed to Orifice here, and I think in all what's our alphabet, the Latin alphabet speaking countries, and I know that with translations and everything, that's above my pay grade, so I know it's not actually Orifice, but I don't know. I don't like not even the aesthetic of the archetype, but the fact that they're just like cops. I don't really like that, so that's why I'm kind of.
That's fair. That's fair. I rescind that. That's F tier easily.
Yeah, I understand.
My bad.
I understand not to get super political and get the gravity of things going with this, but and it's not that serious considering it is a Yu-Gi-Oh archetype, but just that alone, because I'm very much flavor first with any archetype I'm interested in, and so I just I don't know. I just don't like this archetype, but I will say, since it's definitely more of a personal thing than the effects of this or anything like that, I just don't even want to really say a rating for this, because again, I know it's completely personal as opposed to anything outwardly wrong with the archetype. So Jello, you have the final say. Are you sticking with B, or does Nova's words make you want to put it in A? I will say that if you want to put it in A, I do say I don't believe it deserves to be B and A. But if you put it there, just know that I'll be disappointed.
Well, Nova sold me on the because I already knew, I just forgot, and then Nova reminded me of Justify's 3-part Falcon Punch to something from the field. So let's put it in F and then punch it all the way up to A. Let's do that.
Okay.
Put it back.
Okay,
Put it
here,
and then Falcon Punch. There we go. And Dancho in the chat just said that Nova just sold this deck to him, so to them. So very nice.
Konami, you looking for marketers or anything like that? We
We're-
got one
Yeah,
here.
we're just gonna bag on the rest of the set, so it's okay.
Speaking Speaking of marketers, just to let you be aware, Nova, this is going to be 1 Winwich, and then Springans is going to be number 2, and we'll go from there. Now that this one's missing, so let's roll the nice die here, and we got a 4. So that means you got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh, Dream Mirror.
The Dream Mirror support. I believe they have 3
mirrors.
cards,
Oh my God.
if not 4. I know a trap, a fusion, and then this individual right here. There might be a random spell or trap that does something that no one cares about, but I think we're just working with 3 support cards here.
I'll be right back. Go ahead without.
God, got any freaking Dream Mirrors. So I will say, I think the Dream Mirror trap card, where the girl is like recounting the adventures from the night before about all that was happening, that's adorable. And there's also a tiny dog in there, which is even more adorable. I can't get over that. So that's already
because it's the tiny dog is friend and foe. The card.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I want to see a Dream Mirror explained for sure. I understand that's not at the forefront of new releases, but if you're ever having a slow week, I'll put that on the table as a recommendation, because the lore with just the like you're saying, the spell and traps alone is very flavorful and very nice.
That would make this even more Wizard of Oz than Cosmo, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, that's outstanding. Okay, so anyway, Dream Mirror sucks, and I hate it. But I have had my butt kicked by Dream Mirror on stream more times than I care to admit. So I have to acknowledge that it does have some plays. And what is it? They have the new fusion, which is it's Drytron's levels of incomprehensible when it comes to the artwork. I can't see a darn thing going on in here.
And it's on a fusion monster, so the purples don't help at all either.
Yeah, very true.
Oh God, you're right. I'm seeing it now. Oh my God. Oh, don't get it for that art specifically. There's some other good art here, but it is very hit and miss with this archetype now that I'm like really going through them in my head, isn't it? But yeah, so I like the new fusion spell. It's free effect, free monster negation. You love it when your boss monster can just sit down and force your opponent to not do anything. And then it technically has the ability to swap into another Dream Mirror monster if you have, what is it, Joy on the field, to turn into his the original version of Oneiros. I just kind of wish that technically it couldn't have happened because it wasn't released yet, but I would have liked it if the other one did the same thing so that it matched how all the other ones work. But like, the issue is that they gave Hypnagogia to Dream Mirrors, and that's the card they need to make the deck work. But they made it a trap card, so the deck has to play reactive, and it doesn't have enough really good effects to be reactive. And I don't think anything in this set really fixes that. Off the top of my head, I don't see anything that really like makes them more proactive than they were beforehand. I'm trying to think. I do like how the new trap card shuffles the monsters into the deck instead of sending them into the graveyard. So now the loops are infinite instead of like running out of resources from your deck, and you can play less copies of them now because you can just recycle them. So that's pretty cool. And it also recycles Dream Mirrors by sending it to the graveyard, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that giant spiel all out of the way, I still don't think it really pushes it very far. So I don't know if I want to say E just to fill up empty space, or if I actually feel that way. But I'm currently putting it in C because the deck is still playable and it gives it some nice support now. But I don't think it's anything better than that. So I would put it higher C than War Rocks.
Okay.
Now I pass to you, JC.
So for those of you who are unaware, I actually really like Dream Mirrors, but I fell off of the deck and I don't know much about the new support, sadly. And I forgot all the old support too because I have the brain of a squirrel. So the points though that Nova made are very good. There are some highlights with this new support, but ultimately at the very end of the day, this doesn't add anything new. It just helps some of the weaknesses, but not the biggest play style weakness of, again, like you said, it being like reactive but not having like powerful enough effects to like take the best like take advantage of that. Like it's forced to play reactive as opposed to like, oh, these effects would be really good to be reactive with. So I think your placement is actually too high in my opinion, coming from someone that actually likes dream mirrors a lot. I would even say, and of course I want to hear from Jello before this, and I want to hear from both of you with this, but I think this might create a shakeup. I would think this is D material, but I think it's too high compared to Fabled, and I want to kick Fabled down to E. Because I don't think this is like just no one's talking about this enough to be in the same league as Warrock. I know that's kind of what Warrock has going for it, I guess, that it's such a point of contention, but just the fact that Fables is so forgettable, that I feel like even though this is forgettable also, I feel like this does more for their intended deck as a wave of support over the Fabled. So that's why I think you are putting a little high, but then again, my idea kind of will mess up the whole board kind of. But I guess that's why these aren't hard pasted onto this and we can move them around as we go. But Jello, what are you thinking about this?
I was just gonna say D for Dream Mirror, but and just just place it higher on the scale than Fabled, because I don't know what Dream Mirrors do. All I know is that there's like a light side and a dark side to each thing, and then they do something. But that's pretty much every archetype in the game. So yeah, I'll just agree with you guys and say probably a low C or a high D for this one.
Before we cut back to Nova, the one who has the ultimate decision on all of this, I don't remember because again that brain of a squirrel thing's kicking in. Nova, did you have the Fabled support also?
No, I was.
Did I have it? Who had the Fabled? See, it's so forgettable. We're forgetting our time with it when we had it.
I think I had D because I didn't get S-Rock to S like I would have. Warrock to S like I would have. So yeah, that would have been me. So I think.
Okay. So it's your decision. I don't want to sway you by saying change everything you've ever thought you knew with this list. But what is your ultimate decision with the Dream Mirrors here on the list?
See, you're saying I don't want to sway your opinion when the whole point of us putting our opinion in there is to sway the opinion. The backbone on this one. That being said, I do defer my judgment to the person who's played Dream Mirror more, and you make a lot of sense, especially considering the precedent that we've set with Warrocks. Put it in D. D for Dream Mirror and for discard. We're discarding Dream Mirrors, folks. That's how the tier list is going.
Keeping another thing is Fabled still in D, and this is just ahead of Fabled, or is Fabled kicked out of D?
Oh no, they're both staying as D. The beaver has solidified its position on the board.
Yes. Because we can't make E stand for anything with.
Yeah, nothing cool.
Yeah. Artists with the fro picked up that I said S-Rock, and they have discovered that I am making Warrock security force.
Scandinavian rock music. Come on, guys.
I call it Time Cop.
I got 6, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Ooh.
So I can't remember if this is just this one card or if this represents something. I think it is just the single card.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because then I have it's not just like, oh, the powerful staples, because I have the other like good secrets in here. So I picked up a playset of this because it was like, I think I got them for like 12 a piece or something.
You're lucky.
On like release, and I forgot what it does. I know it's like a weird way of like. Okay, correct me. I feel like Jello also, but I feel like if anyone, Nova like remembers it word for word. So please, I will defer to you if I'm like thinking of this incorrectly. But it's like the drawing thing I find very interesting. How it's like the cards are removed from the game, so you can't redraw those same cards or something like that. Like they're banished or something.
Oh, I think that's a different card.
Oh boy, what card is this then? Oh.
I think you're thinking of Sky Piercer of the Light. This is
This is-
Miradora.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so this is
Konami
like
needs to stop these lanky dragons. Heavenly Zephyr, Miradora.
yeah, so
Okay,
this is
what
like
do you do?
this is like Phantasme 2.0.
Okay. With 2,000 more of that.
They're making this weird cycle of level 7 dragons in the hand that are hand
Okay, that's
traps,
where I got
Yeah.
it
but
from.
they're very like disparate.
Okay, because this is wind.
Yeah.
Okay, because then the other one is light, and that's the whole Christmas special that you should check out on Nova's channel. That it works with those cards. It can be searched. The not this one, the other one. I was thinking of. I mean, it's secret. I'll just go off the fact that it's secret, and if it's Phantasme 2.0, I'm just gonna say the weakest argument ever, B tier, because the price I think speaks for itself in terms of it's a hand trap, newly released, and I got it for like $12. So so B tier is what I think. Who wants to go first to either confirm that B tier or say it's lower or higher?
Go ahead, Nova.
Jello, I'm gonna be the wet blanket on this one. So do you want to take this one?
Okay. I don't actually have any strong opinions on this card. Like people will always get things that do stuff from the hand because this is special summon this card. If the card is special summon from the hand, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. If a special summon from the extra deck, neither player can activate monster effects while this monster. So that monster's effect. So for that purpose, I think it's good. Like you said, the price tag speaks for itself. I was going to pick some of these up for my Harpy deck, but then I saw that they were like $15 Canadian each, and I said, nah, I gotta keep that money in my pocket for the Lost Arts. So yeah, I don't have any objections with where you want to put it.
Okay, Nova, wet blanketify this.
Okay, so my question, either of you, once you've read it, and my question to the chat: what does Miradora stop? It's clearly a hand trap. Meant to stop powerful extra deck monsters from doing their thing. What does it stop? It doesn't stop anything with 1900 or less attack, so no nightmares, which are just solid cards. It's arguable that it works against access code talker because what you summon it out, it's 2,000, it's more than 2,000, so you can summon Miradora. Then its effect triggers on summon to gain attack power, which means that you can't chain Miradora, so it doesn't stop access code talker. Hardly stops Appaloosa, only if your opponent gets greedy with it. So, what does this stop?
I
Stops
see
me
your
from buying
question.
it. That's
Yeah, and I raise you.
I'm an F tier guy on this. Unless someone comes by and tells me, Nova, you absolute child, you beta in a Chad's body. This clearly stops Eldritch or something like that. But until such a time, I'm an F guy on this one. This card has just no application that I'm aware of. And they made it a secret and a Starlight despite that. That upsets me.
Okay, I see your point and the fact that Jello wasn't like, I feel like Jello and I like didn't have a major point, and then you had the biggest point and it made it sound bad. It didn't even make it. You just highlighted what the bad parts were. I feel like F is reserved for like a special place in Konami Purgatory, so I'm gonna put it in E. If everything else is on this list and nothing else is in F, then this can go to F. But for now, I'm gonna put it in E. Just cause, you know what I mean? Because I feel like there might be worse.
No,
But
that's good.
Jello, let's see your Fate 4.
What is
Oh,
that?
this is a fun one. This
can't
is,
see
I
it.
had to remind myself, this is all
Oh,
the
okay.
one-offs.
Oh,
The
one-off.
Constellar card, the Digital Bug card, the Machina card, and the Ojama Pink card, among others, I believe. But this is just the archetype one-offs. I'm gonna say that's not the same because I have this one here is like all of the kind of like legacy like retrains like Greater Polymerization, Rotat, and the Archfiend, the Axe of Despair retrain, and the Mahavelo. So that's what this is. That's not
Okay.
these. These are like just singular pieces of support in the set, and these there's more than this, but these are, I just ran out of room, I think, or something, or I was too lazy to like look for more. So how are you feeling on these?
Okay, so I haven't gone through the abilities of all the cards, so I'm gonna go over the ones that just let me know if it falls into this category. So we have Rebellious Lu Feng in this category as well.
Yeah.
And
Okay, yeah, that fits under here. Even though they also have a spell or a trap, or maybe both or something.
Oh yeah, they have a trap in this as well.
That'll still count. I don't think we have another thing.
And it also has. Oh yeah, white baking, or is that in the other one?
Yeah, white baking. No. What's up?
Because
white baking can, I guess it would be in both, but
okay.
but it'll go in here. It'll go in here.
Okay, so put it in S. I don't care. White baking, Rebellious Lu Feng. That's it. Just put it in S.
Nova, do you agree with that?
I just want to explain the rest because I feel like that's kind of like...
Yeah, go ahead.
So I remember talking to JC about digital bugs, and you saying that it was sort of like Shino birds, where it's just, you know, like just a really bad archetype, and digital bugs, like, because I don't actually know what the new digital bug does. I'm searching up Unklusbar right now. But yeah, I don't really know how much the rest of these cards contribute to their archetype. The new Machina card, from what I know, is also like a dark machine. It's like one of the corrupt sort of like old Machina monsters. So it doesn't really work well with the new way that they want to play, because they all want to just use earth machines, from what I remember. So it doesn't really help. The Consular card, I don't remember what it does. Ojama Pink, I know it was a meme for a bit, so you know that at least puts it at A tier. But yeah, Lu Feng really does make the deck, really does make Ancient Warriors fun, and white baking is just good support. So I would put this in.
I just want to mention real quick, Artist with the Fro mentions the dual avatar fusion.
Oh yeah,
I think they also have another Speller Trap, but again, similar to the Ancient Warriors, we'll just group those in here as well, even though it's more than, you know, one card. So I guess that I doubt it would make you go down any with your score, but so still S tier, still actual S tier on this.
I'd put it in A or S. A or S.
A or S?
Just because of off the back of white baking and Lu Feng. Come on, it's a skeleton at a barbecue. Come on. And for some reason they say he's baking. I don't understand it, but it's beautiful. That's my opinion.
No, but how are you feeling about?
So there's a pit deep down in my stomach that sees Ojama Pink and wants to banish it from the list entirely. But that's entirely because it's got bulb eyes, and I hate those. As an effect, Ojama Pink is still just another really good card to add to that. And the theme that I'm seeing here for all these one-ofs is that they give decks that struggle with enabling their combos a way to do it. Ojama Pink is a way to dig in your deck and discard Oja Magic or other sundry Ojama cards. I looked at Constellars. You can summon it from your hand if you control any other Constellar, and in the Xyz deck, that's what you want. And it adds a spell or trap, so you can get access to those. Digital Bug is a Kagamusha Knight for digital bugs, so it lets you spam material for it's good. It's good stuff. And we talk about other things like Lu Bu is here. You can summon it if you control another Ancient Warrior, which is something they really care about.
Another Dynasty
White
Warrior.
Baking, more Dynasty Warriors, yo. It's a really big theme that I've seen in this set, and I love that. So despite my misgivings aesthetically about our drama pink, I do have to agree with Jello's initial oh god, why am I brain farting right now? I sounded so smart earlier.
Used it all up.
It's all out. His assertion of S tiering. I really think that this set really does encapsulate. None of these may be I'm breaking the meta, but as a collective of you get a good card and you get a good enabler and you get a good enabler, it's a solid 10 out of 10 for that one. So I'm easily agreeing with an S tier on this.
So I want to piggyback off of that, saying that I am the one who just like put this little tier list together in terms of like obviously archetypes and just random stuff, and I felt it was so important to include the one-offs because I feel like they're kind of forgotten if you're not the Digital Bug player, not the Constellar player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you make a really good point that this is a very solid like trend we've seen in this, and then even like I think it was a few sets back, the random Evotile card that came out that like did the same thing where they have random effects that out of context are like kind of weird, but literally fit perfectly into the archetype to kind of speed up the older strategies that these cards suffer from power creep. Do they make them meta defining? No, but they make them that bit faster. So what I just said, I agree with both of you actually. I didn't expect to, but between what the two of you guys said, I think this is S tier off the grounds that I think they did what they were meant to do, and that was to be support for older archetypes. And as players of these decks, I can imagine, obviously, you want support that will break your deck, but this makes your deck actually playable at some degree. So I definitely agree with everyone. And I just realized that Jello, you said A or S tier. And I just plopped it in S tier. So what is your final call on this? Do you agree or do you still think it's just A tier?
Put it in S. Put it in S.
Put it in S? Okay, I kind of
smack it right there.
So,
I love how
excited.
I love how the first S tier thing isn't even like full support for anything. It's just here's one card. And artist with a fro says that he's baking potatoes. Like, okay,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
That's the
those things are potatoes. I gotta see that.
While you're looking, Nova, get ready to also look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, Jello.
Put that in S right now.
Nova, you hold Jello's life in your hands. I specifically put this one card as its own because of Jello, as opposed to just being part of.
Can I just give it to him then? I know how much it means to him. Can I just give it to him?
Okay. So since we are playing by no rules, we are friends, right?
Yeah.
So next time we loop around to Jello, we'll get back to her,
Okay,
right?
Thank you.
I think.
That sounds good.
I think.
Oh my God! Is that Peter
get,
Griffin's face?
Springan's Pedor. It's all yours. I made this myself. I'm sure the book is made, but I had to. I think this was like, you know, one of the first ones that I like copied and pasted. So I was like feeling confident. I was like, I'll make little jokes, and then I like stopped and I just copied and pasted the rest. But a little nugget of comedy for the night. How are Springans in this set in particular, Nova?
While Nova is trying to get his breath back, don't forget to like the podcast, guys, if you are enjoying the shenanigans that are going on right now.
And share it, because everyone that you know that isn't watching this podcast deserves to see this.
Peter Griffin. Great.
Anyway, so yeah, Spriggan's pretty friggin' sweet, Lois. I think they need to go on S tier. No, but no, yeah, Spriggans are really fun. They're getting a lot more good support in Lightning Overdrive. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Every time I look at the screen, I try to collect my thoughts. And all I can imagine is just Roxy is off to the side, but it's Brian being all like, Peter, we need to get on Explorer. It's like, nah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
He's really good. It's definitely B tier in my opinion right now, and that could improve later on. But right now, it's a solid B deck. It's got some good resource management. It has an interesting mechanic that we haven't seen from Xyz decks, if not at all, then recently. And it does effective things like stopping attacks and blowing up a bunch of cards all at once. So I'm a B tier guy on that.
Jello, how are you feeling about that B tier?
Man, I just want to put it in S tier because of Peter's face on it. But
can we get a second like an unaltered Spriggans and put it in B tier and put that one in S tier?
Yes, please. Could we do that real quick?
Next time Simo does like I need memes or something. AC, please, please.
Don't even give the caption of Peter Griffin. Just
no, just that by
Just
itself.
this.
If they don't get it, they were never gonna get it. They were never gonna think it's funny.
Oh man. But yeah, I love how we started out all analytical in different aspects, and now we just devolved into memes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Nova said, it's a very fun deck, and they do add a lot of different types of ways to play this, and like I said earlier, the fact that their most expensive card is $1 right now, or not even $1 right now, makes it so easy to pick up this deck and play. So if Nova wants to put it at B, we'll put it at B.
I think this was from, correct me if I'm wrong, this was from the collaboration between MBT and Nova. Check that out on MBT's channel. But I believe it was mentioned there that, like Nova even said just now, the support we get after this set is what makes Springans like much better. So I agree that even though everything good about this deck, it's just not completed yet, in my opinion. My opinion is completely based off of that opinion that was given to me, and I agree with. But I definitely think B tier if Nova says that. He's our expert on Springans between the three of us for sure. So I agree that B tier makes a lot of sense for now, and it can only go up from here probably. But Nova, do you finalize the B tier treatment of this guy here?
Yeah, it's just like how upset my parents were whenever I didn't bring in some A's. It's just a B.
There it goes.
Can
and
I
then
just say that at the beginning of this whole thing, the second I saw Pedor in that list, I was thinking to myself, something looks wrong. Something looks very wrong.
I thought it was just googly eyes. Up until it was scaled up, I thought it was like, oh, JC's having a bit of a guffaw, adding some googly eyes on the machines, and then I saw the butt chin and the floodgates went.
Yeah.
It is my. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, because I'm just gonna say what archetype I just got. So
Okay.
we'll be moving on after this. So
Okay.
whatever you have to say about this.
I just hope that they don't screw us over with the next set that the support comes out with, because that comes out with support for this deck by making everything a secret, because that would really suck.
Mm-hmm. That would suck.
Yeah, it'd be reverse Plunder Patrol, right? Kinda. Because they got common stuff out. I don't know. I'm not a Plunder Patrol expert. I shouldn't have even brought that up because they aren't on this this tier list here. But what?
No, nothing.
Yeah.
Roll the die.
I did roll it, and sadly I got 2, which means I got Lila's like out of the equation because we'll get to her in a second. I got the Metal Foes support. Again, I hate to be an echo chamber at this point of I don't know what these do, but I think the biggest thing is, maybe this will make Electromite come back to 1, just like how the Phantom Knight support made Bardiche come back. Because of that, I like them at least decently enough. I'm no like major Pendulum player, but as someone who's like messed around with as low tier stuff as like a Morphage, like Electromite's just randomly like interesting, and I like the utility it gives to like any Pendulum deck. So I would just say this in, I want to say, so D tier is where I go to in terms of like, since I don't know what it does, I feel like I would know what it did if it did something good or like super awesome. But I also don't want to put it in C tier because despite this being like one of the I believe the first like waves of support released when we first like got like information about Blazing Vortex, no one's really talked about it since then, at least from what I've seen in like the community on like Twitter and stuff of people I follow. So either of you, please correct me if I'm wrong about this not being a point of conversation, but I feel like this kind of fell off similar to the Fabled support in a way. But this was like much more hyped as actual support. So what are your thoughts, either of you?
So I am going to lead with the fact that Metal Foe set up this expectation that we were going to be returning to the True King timeline, and then Lightning Overdrive did not have what is it, Crystron's updated, and it made me very sad. But it is cool to see that. I assume they killed VFD in the artwork for Para Metal Foe's Fusion. It was like they're drawing energy or attacking his symbol or something. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. But I was also hoping that set up the fact that we would be banning VFD from the format. But once again, cards being oracles has not proven to be true, even though they have a whole like side set of cards that are all about the banned monsters being in some kind of quarantine facility. But hey, whatever. Consistency among card art. What am I to judge on that one? They don't even name their artists. The actual effect-wise, this is something that I'm a little less familiar with, but I do like how they made a new Metal Foe's Link monster, almost as a, oh god, we messed up and made the only Link monster that makes this Pendulum deck viable, broken for everything else, so we have to ban it. So instead of unbanning that, they had to make a whole new one. Trying to double check other things. I like how the new one, Metal Foe's Vanisher, is essentially just the True King monster. They just put it into Metal Foe's engine, so you have like non-targeting banishing for the deck, which is a great addition to a deck that's already chock full of a bunch of different kinds of unique removal. Like one of their fusions bounces monsters. One of their fusion like equips it like the what is it? Not Odd Eyes. Millennium Eyes? 1,000 Eyes, there we go. There are too many eyes monsters in this game, I tell you. And they have a new fusion Pendulum monster, and I always like it when they attack Pendulum onto any of the existing extra deck archetypes. I'm not sure, as a non-Metal Foes player, how effective it is and how often you're going to go into it, but I do think that it adds some just interesting sequences to a deck, and adds a Link monster to a Pendulum deck that sorely needed it, because every other Pendulum deck in the format ended up using it so much that it had to be banned, which I think was not fair. So, Metal Foes wise, I'm putting in my vote for I was about to say C, and then I realized that I would go with War Rocks, and I don't want anyone to accuse me of putting one of the previous best decks in the formats next to Caveman deck.
You can just put it in front of it. Higher on the C scale.
I could do this. And then like fit it like
it's not
like
not,
have a space.
It's not my decision, but I would put it as a B. Thinking B.
Okay. We'll move that here for now as we hear Jello's thinking of where it should go.
So I was just going to say that the artwork on this new support is amazing. Other than that, I was going to say that this could have been sort of the same deal as the Phantom Knights getting Rusty back when Phantom Rage stuff was being announced, but Golden Nova did point out that it might not even have any correlation to that happening because Electromite is so commonly used. So, and and like you also pointed out that I didn't really think about until you mentioned it was they did get a new Link monster, so I don't know whether or not they want to, make these things even more broken than they were before by giving them more options. So, I personally like it because I am on Nova's channel a lot because I like listening to lore, and this is an extension of said lore for the story. So I agree with Nova, and I would probably put it in C or B as well. Probably put it in C for Cancer, but it's up to you guys.
Okay. Let's see. Also, fun fact, this is the only image that isn't perfectly 1x1. It's 1x1.02 because it's like a pendulum art, so it's like a little weird. So that's a fun little fact. I'm going to, after that fun little fact, move Warrock over here. And so that way they aren't touching, they aren't friends. They're not even in the same in-archetype universe, but they are the same tier level. I will also want to mention that Artist with a Fro did do the obligatory penned best deck. I honestly don't watch enough or kind of at all of Triff's stuff, just because I'm not too interested in like pendulums and stuff. So sadly I'm not too hip on the whole meme, but of course that's permeated the very consciousness of all Yu-Gi-Oh players everywhere. So that's the obligatory pen best deck. Let's go, everyone. But
let's go.
Jello, without further ado, what am I doing with this die? Because we got probably the shortest tier decision of the whole list.
Put her in F treat because I didn't pull any.
Is it trick or treat? I don't even.
It's treat.
An S.
No, treat? Put it in F because I didn't pull one. No, I'm kidding. Just put it
F?
in S. Put it in S.
What?
Put it in
Wow.
No, I in context of the archetype that she's supposed to be used in, she makes it so that if you open with her and either of the other two live twins, then you can automatically proc the evil twin ability, because you can just put her on the field and then bring out Kiss Kill to I believe Kiss Kill was draw, and then go off on other shenanigans like that. So it's an automatic Link 3 play, and in the Code Talker deck that I'm screwing around with, this is really, really helpful into not having to use the cheat coders like microcoder and code generator from my hand right away to get
the cheat coders. That's so cool. I'm stealing that. If I talk about those, oh, that's so cool.
Thank you. But yeah, in terms of being able to splash her, and along with the rest of the archetype into other decks that like to link climb, she is so useful. And then I don't even remember what her other ability is, but I don't even care because she just special summons herself. She is an in-archetype backup secretary, and you benefit more off of using her than having to use backup secretary. So so she's really good for the deck. Sucks that she's an ultra. It's amazing that she's a starlight. Sad I didn't pull a starlight, but she is still a star in my eyes. And of course, if we do get a live twin Lilla treat, maybe we'll get an evil twin Lilla treat. I have no idea. These might just be, their VTuber personas, but I'm holding out. My baby girls, they're doing it for me, and we're getting Frost. We're getting Kiss Kill Frost in Lightning Overdrive, so I'm super excited for that. So S, put her in S for Starlight.
Put her in S. I don't know. I have nothing to say with that because I agree with you in terms of like this is all you, Jello. But Nova, do you have anything to input, or did Jello kind of take the words right out of our mouths with this one?
I was initially upset when Blazing Vortex reveals finished, and they put Lilla Trick, and they didn't make Kiss a Kill Treat in the same set, and that irked me so much. And I'm a little better now that Kiss a Kill Frost exists a little bit, because there's still kind of a duality, but it doesn't like match. So I'm a little mad about that. But I didn't know about how good of a synergy that was with what this adds to the deck until Jill let me know about that, so I'm very glad about that. Live Twins, Evil Twins are still just a very fun deck that have a lot of really good value plays. And shout out to Komi Mari, the YouTuber channel with the best animated series ever, watching Kiss a Kill and Lila, the VTuber duo doing weird stuff. So yeah, S tier. They're just they're
S tier.
They are.
We're locking
in for S tier. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Before we move on, though,
just to hop off.
Okay.
Just real quick, what both of you said, basically the point is we're going to get an Evil Twin Trick is what I'm going to call right now. So. And then I guess what, Evil Twin Jack, like, because we got Frost.
Oh, that would be so
that'd be crazy
of them if they did that. Oh, yeah, okay, never mind. This is going to get so good.
Oh, we would
figured it out. They've cracked the code.
We would get an Evil Twins Kissy Kill Lila Jack-o'-lantern Frost or something like that, since it's Halloween and Christmas. But before we go into the next one,
that's also really good.
I hope.
I'm
That'd be
so
crazy.
ready.
Yeah, I just wanted to say before we move on to the next one that Artist with a Fro had to peace out a couple seconds ago. He said, "Great stream, hoping that Linear Equation Canon gets S tier," and we will get to that. So let's move on. Thanks again, Kai, for dropping by. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next.
And like you said, before we get to the next one, now we are in the next one. Nova, you got 4, which means you get thank you Ideal 808 for having for some reason, for how I looked up this card, the best
the best looking art.
Just the artwork, because I was too lazy to like clip it out of like a card image, because I did this like the day of release, so you know how like the scans kind of come in a little later with the English versions. So yeah, this is we're not sponsored, maybe we'll just pop this down there.
Yeah, we have no relation.
Yeah, but how are you feeling about this secret rare from the set, Nova?
I'm honestly conflicted about Goddess of the Closed World. Not because I don't think it's good. This card is ridiculous. I'm just worried about the kinds of decks that will be running this effectively. This is a huge weapon for any spam deck that wants to just throw out a bunch of material out of nowhere. And now, on top of being able to access a huge breadth of Link monsters, you also have a Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon type effect that is essentially kaiju removal for any monster that your opponent controls. I saw MST TV's recent ruling video about how her ability works to use your opponent's monsters as material, and they did clear up that you can IP Masquerena this on your opponent's turn to take a card, and I think that's also ridiculous, because now it's Fortress Dragon at quick effect speed.
Beautiful. I love it.
There's that. Okay, so what else do we have? It negates the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. So it's, what is it? It's Kali Yuga. That you can quick effect speed. It's unaffected by your opponent's activated effects that don't target it. At first, I thought that was really weird. Like, okay, it's immune to stuff like Lightning Vortex, Dark Hole. That's fine, I guess. But it was also pointed out that I was watching DZeef's, I think it was the premiere video, and they pointed out that things cannot technically negate this if they don't target it. So it can be impermed, but you can't use Borreload Savage Dragon on it. Like, no, what else is it? Once per turn, your opponent activates a card that special summons monster from the graveyard, negate it. There's so much value in this card, and you can run it in almost anything. This is the only bar that this doesn't clear is the fact that it's such a huge investment to make. You're not going to do this as this is definitely going to end your turn when you make it, unless your deck is just that tier 0 that you can know, okay, I I used 4 cards for this. Now let me pop off for 30 more steps. It's the only bear I can think of it. So I got to give this an A because it's just a solid card. This is going to be changing formats for at least a year until this, if this ever until they get cycled out, this will affect the game. That's my piece. JC, thank you for dealing with all that flurried responses. Please please temper that.
So I think this is not the first time on this tier list you've done this, but you've swayed me in the right direction towards liking a card. I didn't not like this card by any means. I find that, I think the last time I checked, which was on this past Friday, I think it was like $25 or something like that, so it wasn't too crazy compared, to many secrets in sets, compared to like a Pot of Prosperity, which we'll get to. But I definitely agree. I think the biggest burden on it, and the reason why it isn't nearly as hyped, is because you do have to do a pretty deep investment into this, but it's a drastic payoff as well. I can't really say much more though. I think you hit all the points, and I definitely wherever you put it, as long as it's high, I will agree with you, because I know it deserves to be way up there. Jello, how are you feeling? Are you with us, or are you against us in this Link monster here that you actually own a copy of?
Yeah. So right now this card is, well, I mean, like, when I have to look at it, is stuck at $35 on the secondary market. And that is like the second most expensive card in this set, unless I'm missing something. So that probably, like, just on the regular rarities outside of Starlights, this is the second most expensive card in the set. And I think it's for good reason, because it does require a lot of payoff, but like Nova said, as long as you're able to spam enough stuff onto the field, it doesn't really matter. And with playtesting this in live twins with Lilla Treat and Code Talkers, it is so easy to set up so easy to set up for an IP on your first turn, and still have enough stuff to just slap somebody in the face with this as soon as they start doing anything on their turn. This card is gorgeous in person as well, so I agree. Put her in A. The only reason she wouldn't be an S is that huge price tag that she comes with in terms of field resource. But other than that, she's really good.
So Nova, is it official?
Yeah, it's A. It is it's staying in A.
Here we go. Right in A.
Get your copies now. This is going to be like a Boral dragon, like the original Borolo dragon situation, where it was really cheap and then it spiked. You need to get it now, because this is going to be like a $60, $80 card
moving forward
in a few weeks.
Yeah. Before we move on, Noble Chaos has joined the chat. What up, peeps? Finally able to tune in. Thank you. Finally.
Hello.
Welcome to the live broadcast. He says he pulled one tonight, and yeah, this card is beyond words, honestly. I'm so glad they made it a secret, and I'm so glad that I pulled it. Not as good as me. It doesn't take away from the fact that it didn't pull Lilla, but it's a consolation nonetheless.
And with that introduction to saying hello to a friend, to watching this podcast, we will now say hello to an enemy. I rolled 4.
Oh my gosh.
1, 2, 3, 4 here. I have never really liked this archetype. It's never really, flavor-wise or otherwise, gameplay-wise as well, it just never was interesting to me. Secret Slayers as a set in general, I've never opened a pack of it. I don't think I own a card from it, maybe like a random like reprint of like a super rare card or something like that was in the set, but I don't this just doesn't do it for me. So this will be a personal one, but I'm gonna say just straight up, like, C tier because I don't even know if it's meta viable in terms of like fitting into the Eldritch strategy now, or if this is just like one of those support, like those pieces of support that are like, oh, Konami wants you to do this, but you're still going to play it the other way because that's how to really break it and use resources differently. So I'm going to defer to you two to see if this is meta defining or anything like that, and that will definitely change my opinion. But for now, just solid C tier for me. So Jello, what are you feeling about this guy and this spell and this fusion we have here in this set?
So I am not fully versed in the ways of Eldritch either, but what I have heard is that it still does count as regular Eldritch the Golden Lord while it's on the field, but it makes it a little harder for you to execute things. That's just how I understood what I heard. If I understood it incorrectly, Nova, then feel free to, smack me across the face. But in terms of art, the fusion looks really cool, and the spell makes me laugh. It reminds me of reminds me of Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents, where he has just this giant head and his legs are tiny because it's in the middle of his like metamorphosis. So, I can't take this art seriously, but yeah, I definitely would put it in C tier because I don't understand the point of making support that makes you change the way you play the deck. Because I believe the summoning requirements for it are kind of wonky too, so that's my 2 cents on this.
Yeah, it's the fusion materials are an Eldritch monster
And a level 5
or Eldritch
zombie.
the Golden Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think as Eldritch support, I would put this as E or F tier, because it doesn't do anything for the strategy as it exists right now. It's clearly an A-level threat in the format as it stands, but nothing that it does meshes with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's the equivalent of if the person at locals saw something like Six Samurais, and they're all like, "Oh, cool! Six Samurais have a card that burns. Let me figure out something that does burn damage with this deck, and then I'll make support for that kind of thing." It's that level of missing the point kind of support.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But as Zombie World support, this is actually really cool, because if you're playing Zombie World, you want to play Eldritch. It's still just a really good zombie card. You're playing stuff like Zombie World in that deck, so it makes your opponent. It's another way that you can use your opponent's monsters as super poly material. Except instead of just making Drago Nether Necro Soul, which you could do anyway, you can make something like Eldritch the Mad Golden Lord, which takes even more monsters and is also an undestroyable, untargetable 3800 beater. On the context of pairing it next to Baylor Drock, I think this is really sweet. In the context of Eldritch, nope, sorry. So overall, I give this is a C for me.
Okay, so I think we're all on the exact same page here. I was even gonna drop this lower when you were saying for just Eldritch, like it's poopy, but you do make a good point that even though it has Eldritch in the name, it can be used with other strategies with great effects. So C tier, it shall go. And with that, Jello, we will give you your archetype O, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ooh, materia actors.
Come and get it. These
Ooh!
2 cards,
Yeah,
3
it's
cards,
two.
2 cards.
Yeah.
You're your actor. 2. How are you feeling about these cool artwork, but small in numbers archetype here?
So I remember watching the Warrock explanation video on Team Sam's channel, and he said that they have synergy with level 3 decks that play around level 3s, but then I just completely erased them from my memory, because I don't know, the aesthetic is, it doesn't speak to me at all. and I don't even remember what they do. So if you guys wanted to remind me, what do materia actors do?
Our expert encyclopedia of Yu-Gi-Oh, Nova. Do you know off the top of your head? Only because since this is on my computer, it's a little more difficult for me to look up cards to read off the top.
I'm pulling them up right now. The one
Okay.
thing that I remember is that the Xyz monster can once per turn add one of its materials back to your hand. It looks like during your opponent's main or battle phase. So you can essentially, I think he even mentioned it in his video where Team Sam said you can use Tour Guide to get something else, make Materia Actor Giga Boros, and then just put the Tour Guide back in your hand to make another thing later on. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm also looking forward to any mechanics that can tuck material back underneath it to then add them to your hand. That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Gigadra right now, which is the one that's on the screen, and it's level 3, Dark Dragon. You can discard one card, special summon a level 3 normal monster from your hand or deck, or if you discarded a normal monster to activate this effect, you can special summon one Materia Actor monster instead. You can only use it's hard once per turn, and you're locked into Xyz monsters for the rest of the turn. So like Nova said, the Xyz monster I can see having extended applications outside of having to use this, but unless you guys can name a deck that uses tons of level 3 normal monsters, then I don't see much use for Gigadra right now. But that's just me being stuck in out of the box land where I forget everything before Legendary Duelist Season 2.
So you can either, I guess you can bank off of Sonic Duck Turbo or what is it? Oh goodness, Cyber Darks with your one copy of a Hunter Dragon, and I guess you can special summon that out or something, turbo that. I strongly believe that in the future we'll probably get like a random Materia Actor that is a level 3 normal monster that probably has like it. I want to say the cap for attack for a level 3 normal monster is probably like 1700 1800 ish. I know for a time it was like 1750 for Hunter Dragon. I think it's 1750 or maybe it's 1700, but the whole point is maybe this will finally boost the cap to like 2000 or something, you know, and like make it like randomly part of the archetype, or I don't know, like something like that. For where it stands right now, though, I think my only 2 cents is the fact that there's only 2 cards, and the Xyz monster is decent, but this is even much more of an incomplete deck than Springens, and even though Springens has a lot of support, it's just that they'll get leaps and bounds better with like future support. This is like an actual like incomplete deck right now, so that's the only thing that makes me think this will be lower on the list. But of course, ultimately, it is up to you, Jello. So where do you think these 2 guys will fall?
I would probably put it in D, because I don't see any use for the main deck monster right now. Of course, I could just be, you know, an idiot and not know. But I would put it in E, but since the Xyz monster is useful in other places, then yeah, D is where it stands right now. Plus, if this didn't lock you into Xyz monsters, I feel like the restriction on only being able to summon a normal monster wouldn't be too broken. I don't know what you guys think. Or if it would lock you into only Materia Actor monsters from the extra deck, which for sure they'll be adding in the future.
If it helps, it only locks you into Xyz summoning while they're on the board. So the second you use it as Xyz material, that wears off.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, so it's
like
kind
with
of like the
incantations.
Incantations. Okay. Yeah, I was just about to say.
Okay, so that makes it better. But lack of anything else for this keeps me at D for this archetype.
Okay, that's definitely fair. And speaking of fair, I don't know why I'm equating this to fair, but Nova, you rolled a 5. So what does that mean? Oh,
Ooh,
look at that here.
There we go.
What am I looking at?
What do you think about our,
yes, Psychic Eraser Laser, folks. Okay, so watchers of my channel know that I love several different kinds of card games, and while I've never picked up an actual deck of it in my life, there's a little card in Magic the Gathering called Swords to Plowshares. It's a wonderful little removal card that only costs a single mana, and it just banishes a monster, and the only drawback is that you give your opponent life. So when I saw Psychic Eraser Laser, a non-targeting sending card that only gives your opponent life points as a drawback, I was feeling blessed. This is going to see a lot of play in the coming future, so long as Yu-Gi-Oh! Continues to be a deck ruled by extra deck monsters. While it clearly can be countered by Dragoon, once you've baited the negation, it outs Dragoons. And it only counts the original attack, so they're not going to get like 4,000 life points off of it. Still 3,000, still a lot. Not saying it's not, but life points are a resource, and at the same time, it doesn't change anything if your opponent has more of them. As long as you get big punch, you can always just take it back away from them anyway. It also just outs Appaloosa, and they get no life points, so that's funny. No, now it only hits extra deck monsters, so it's not like an answer to every deck that has ever existed that has a monster with a lot of protection. So like if Masterpiece comes back, this won't be seeing as much play. But for almost any other deck that I can think of, you're going to want to run Psychic Eraser Laser as just a clean out for anything.
Agreed.
My rating is an A. Once again, it's an A card.
A. I couldn't agree more. I know that this is a not slept on card, but whenever you see something this good be like a super rare, you always think like, what's Konami's deal? But I definitely I agree with your points for sure. I think this is a very good, useful card. I draw a parallel just because like just from I get the same energy as like, remember when Blizzard was like released and there were talks and everyone was like, oh, this is like probably going to be good, and then like nothing happened with it. I fear that for some reason it'll be the same case with this, but I know this is stronger for sure than Blizzard, but that's just my only worry, is that I feel like this might be that one random super rare card of the set that everyone knows is good on paper, but for some weird unexplained reason just like doesn't pick up steam. But Jello, what are your thoughts on this going to A potentially? Because I agree for sure.
Nothing. I mean, if people find a way to make a deck, because I know that there are cards in this game that, you know, restrict your opponent from gaining life points. This card is basically free. if you can make a deck that's consistent enough to pull that. But yeah, it is a good card.
Yeah,
it's non-targeting removal.
Bad reaction decks running this at 3. Let's go, Soul Taker, baby.
Exactly.
Oh god,
those would be fun to watch, and I'm all for this being super because it makes it not expensive. So A is good for me.
My roll is a 1. I was just about to say, when are we going to get to this Windwitch support? Since almost the very beginning, it was like the 4th thing. It was the it's been here for a while. Okay. I like Wind Witches. I play them in Battle Wasp as a good engine, a wind engine, of course. I don't like that they took up 2 ultra rare spots, I think. Yeah, because the and this gal here are both ultra rare. So I like that in the sense that the older support cards were also like ultra rares in like main sets and stuff, so like it makes sense like rarity wise, so it's not like that random one card that's a common in like the like Infinitrax, for instance. But this card or this like set of support, I don't know what they do either, to be honest. I just like Wind Witches, and I hope these do something. I think they got a spell also that's like not a Wind Witch card, like, you know, not titled a Wind Witch card like in the card name. So that's something. I'm sure it searches, since it probably doesn't want to search itself. But other than that, I just want to give it I want to say D for any of these just archetypes that aren't really talked about much, because I forgot Wind Witch and Dream Mirrors got support in this set until I looked at the set list like last week. So just because of forgettability and the fact that I am too lazy to read them because I guess don't care enough about them, they're gonna go in high D tier for me. But what do you guys think? Nova, I'll pass it off to you first this time.
Okay, so I think that Wind Witches have two issues. One is that they lack an identity because they can synchro summon into Crystal Wing, and that was the only thing that people would do with that deck. It was make Crystal Wing or splash Alistair, and that was all you did. Second, burn decks are weak inherently because they do damage, but they don't affect the board state. You need to be playing something like Chain Burn, which is just going to end the game before stuff like that matters, or you have to be playing something like Trickstar, where you're also like cycling a bunch of cards out of hand, or making a bunch of easy link material, or be Chain Burn and summon 3 Lycras off of targeting 1 Trickstar, and then every card you draw is like 800 damage, and like bad memories. Point is, this kind of fixes it. I was looking through them, and I saw that there were a few of them that make it's just more good synchro material as the deck does, but their new boss monster, Diamond Bell, actually destroys cards whenever you deal battle or effect damage. And if you use only Wind Witches to summon it, it can do that twice per turn. So it gets 2 pops if you can manage to pull off damage twice on it. And I think that's going to be really important because that gives the deck a way to interact with your opponent that actually affects them, as opposed to just an opponent with 6,000 life points is just as dangerous as one with 5,000 life points. But now an opponent with 6,000 life points can take 2 500 hits and be down 2 cards. And that's a lot more effective and good. Especially with all of the wind-only restrictions, keeping their pool relatively small as compared to other synchro decks. So I would put it as a C.
C? Okay. That right now, of course, Jello may sway me one way or another, but I think it's C as well now. You actually made very good points in terms of like making Wind Witches finally their own deck and potentially playable as mainly Wind Witches as opposed to having to latch on to some other deck out there like Invoked for sure. But Jello, how are you feeling about this support?
So I know I've pulled this a lot, even in just tonight's show, but I have very bad memories of playing against Wind Witches, and it was always against. It's always against dueling Nexus AIs, and Wind Witches just sort of hand my ass back to me, and it really sucks. And the fact I hate burn decks, so decks like Trickstars, Wind Witch, and other decks like that, I hate playing against them. Like, I don't hate the deck inherently, I just hate playing against them. And Nova saying that they get pops off of doing that is sort of like, dumping a salt truck on an open wound or throwing you into the ocean while your arm is lacerated or something. So I don't like that, but it makes the deck really good. And yeah, I don't think it'll change anything in terms of the ever changing meta that we have going on. But if I can throw out 2 sparks from my hand and blow up 2 things on the field, then that's wonderful.
It turns them into removal spells. That's
exactly. Great. Deal 200 and remove a card. It's great. So yeah,
die.
Definitely, I agree with Nova on this one.
So overall, Wind Witch will be C tier because I agree with both of you. You made great points. Sparks Turbo, I guess, will be the new metagame strategy. That has
bringing back those old cards.
Just for clarity's sake, if we roll a 6, we just go back to 1. You know what I mean? I'm going to count 5 and then go back. So okay. That'll be, since we have, because of course the last one, Blazing Vortex, doesn't count. So we rolled a 2, so that doesn't count. Jello, you get the honor of all of the pack filler cards that I know we said we don't remember some of the archetypes, but this encapsulates all the random, non-connected to other archetypes, what people dub as pack filler in the set. Anything you look through as you look at the set and is probably keeps their Japanese name, that comes to mind for this. Anything that has like alliteration probably also comes to mind with this.
Yeah.
Just any random one-off cards that aren't good, basically. Because if they were good, then they'd be like a Psychic Eraser Laser or something like that. So
Yeah.
where do you rate the worst cards of the set?
So
on this
I need to interject real quick. I need to interject.
Yes.
Okay.
I gotta step off for like a minute.
Okay.
My nose is getting really bad.
Okay.
So one thing is when you told me like bad filler pack filler that always pop up in decks in sets, the first thing that I remembered were those guitar players that we keep getting for some reason. We had that Speedroid guitar first, and then we started getting the players with them. Like, it started out as one guy playing the guitar, and now we have a duo playing the guitar, and I honestly cannot remember the rest of them. But yeah, put them in F for filler, I guess, or B for bad. Either one.
F for filler.
Yeah.
I will say I'm leaning towards F, if you agree. I'm sure Nova would agree as well. We'll just have to catch him up slightly with this, because sadly the show must go on, and of course he will be back very shortly. But I guess for now we will skip him to move on to me to go for the next one, just for time's sake here, because this tier list, I love it, and I've been laughing way too much, but
it's also
this
been
tier
2
list
hours.
made things much longer than this is gonna be a long episode. I did get 2.
Okay.
So that means I got Pot of Prosperity here. Sadly, when you copy and paste things over from onto PowerPoint, you get some of these overlaying issues like that, but we'll keep it over here. Pot of Prosperity, it's the most expensive card of the set for good reason. There is some issues with people being like, oh, is this better than Extravagance? Is it worse than Extravagance? I do see that Nova's back, I believe. I am seeing a live feed and not the actual feed.
Okay.
So he's been back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Apologies. We rated the pack filler F for filler, and now we just started talking about Pot of Prosperity. I'm just going to say S tier, because it is the next draw spell that actually is good. Is it the best draw spell? I know this is definitely geared towards, it has to fit in your deck to work, but this is almost, in my opinion, same energy almost as the Psychic Eraser Laser, as like, I feel very Magic the Gathering vibes from it. The fact that you're digging deep into a deck to just pick that the correct card that you need. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I know that this isn't the best in terms of card like advantage, but the fact that you can dig deep to get that card you need definitely kind of makes up for that. I mean, that's why people like Pot of Duality, right? So that's why I think this is S tier for that. And also at the end of the day, it is the most expensive card for a reason, and it's not a bad draw card. You know how sometimes we get these Pot of Greed retrains and they are not that good, but this is definitely on the pantheon of ones that are definitely playable for sure. So I'll leave it up to either of you, whoever interjects first. Do you agree or disagree at all with the placement of S tier for this? The first single card that goes to S tier based on actual goodness overall, instead of maybe some bias going into that.
Hey, there was no bias in that Lila call, okay? I just want to make that clear. But since I already opened my mouth, I'll start, since my explanation is really short. I made 100 Canadian dollars off this card. Case in point. And you get to choose which cards you banish. Or is it random, or do you choose? I forgot which one. Cause
You get
Yeah,
When you
so-
choose.
so one, you get to
Yeah.
choose. Two, you're not just drawing random cards. You are looking at the top cards of your deck to put into your hand. And one could argue that Extravagance has better applications in terms of card advantage because you get to draw two. But I'd rather be able to choose one card that I know that I need and I know that will go into my hand than bet on chances of me drawing it being higher. So I definitely give this an S. I don't think I feel like this is one of the only cards that we could all agree on that should be an S, if not, A, because of how expensive
It's
it
very
is.
solid.
Oh yeah.
But all you
And
gotta do
Nova.
is wait for next year's Megatins, and you're set.
Ah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are people who are going to always compare the different pot cards and be all like, if you're not playing the optimal one, then why are you even playing any of them, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Or any different ones. But it's more like there's not one that's better than the other ones. It's ones that like work best with the deck that you're playing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Extravagance gets you an extra card, but like Jello specifically said, sometimes you want a specific card out of all of those. If your deck is full of very high impact single card combos, but you play a bunch of bricks, you don't want to randomly draw two. You want to find the one card that's going to unlock the rest of your hand. Like for instance, this is not an S tier card for a deck that popularized Extravagance, Gren Maju. That deck doesn't give a crap about its extra deck, and it wants to banish as many cards as possible at all times. So this is easily an S level card, because for the decks that just need that one single card to make sure that their plays go smoothly, this is going to do it, and it allows you to play an extra deck consistently. On top of that, the only other drawback is that you don't draw for the rest of the turn. Boo-hoo, play a deck that searches cards then. And second, you deal half battle damage. Boo-hoo, get a 16,000 attack monster on board. It's easy. Or go first.
There we go. That's
You
a little
did,
more, that's a little more likely.
You did forget the biggest drawback, I think, and that is the fact that I hate these sprinkles going on in his mouth here. That's why I zoomed in. I didn't know how to bring it up, so I'm just gonna be blunt about it. I don't know. I guess this is my first time seeing the card this detailed and up close. Thanks, Alan Mack probably got this from somewhere.
Big
And I
Daddy.
probably got it from him. Yeah, his dad and Konami sent him the files. But yeah, I don't like these sprinkles. Despite that, I will not put it down to A tier. I'll keep it an S tier. Where'd it go? Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Does anyone see it on?
Oh, we can't find it. We can't rate it. Oh well. Oh no.
I really,
Control,
I
control
really
Z.
went. Yeah, I literally just controlled Z'd. It must have went off screen or something. Okay, there it goes. Okay, we'll put it in
I would
S tier.
say
And then Nova, we did have to skip you sadly, and I got Pot of Extravagance. So we're going to you now, and I just selected 4, which means you get, I would argue, one of the more interesting things on the list, because we go 1, 2, 3, 4 back to this one. It is all of the legacy support. That means greater polymerization, Rotat, the Axe of Despair retrain, the Maha Velo retrain, and anything else you can find. Those are the ones that come to mind for me, but I'm sure there's probably one more randomly that I'm not even aware of. But how are you feeling in terms of how is that hitting you with the nostalgia, and how is that hitting you in terms of them actually being good?
It's always fun to see when remixes of cards exist. They're hardly ever effective for the game. They don't reprint, for instance, they didn't reprint Reinforcement of the Army's Troops as a card that searched different typings that you could just pull out of your deck like the original one does. It's like a different way that the theming of that effect would work out. But I like seeing it because the game has proven that it has this 2 decades of icons, and I don't want to say lore, but it has this connection to the community. We're just like seeing it. We'd also like to see it if the cards were actually good, but you know, we can't get everything. Not to knock reinforcement of the Army's troops, I think because it works, it does something similar to War Rocks, where it's just Earth Warrior support. So if a deck comes along that can use all that effectively, I think we're going to change our tone about how we feel about a lot of things, and that includes Rotat, because now does Rotat specify Earth Warriors, or is it just
warriors?
Any level 4 lower warrior?
Yeah, just one.
Okay, yeah. So, heroes. We have a whole archetype made of low-level heroes or low-level warriors. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, once again, we're not breaking the meta here, but I think Noble Knights would have fun with this card. I know I had a lot of issues summoning out a lot of those, so I think that makes for fun usage. I gotta reread Staff of Despair here because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know this was a retrain for Axe of Despair. It just looked like a weird shrunken head on a stick.
Yeah, I gotta take a look at that.
That should have tipped you off.
In your main phase, you can make all monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to half the equipped monster's attack until the end of the turn. Ooh, wow. This card sent to the grave all equipped to a monster. You can pay 1,000, add it back to your hand. All right, that's pretty cool. So attack reduction like that doesn't show up very often because it's not a very exciting effect. And when it does come up, it pales in comparison to, once again, you're not affecting the board state when you do stuff like that. You're just reducing stats. But whenever it says, hey, I'm going to attach this to my 3,000 attack monster, and now all of you just lost 1,500, that's effective. Like, our benchmark for what makes a good attack stat is somewhere around the 25 to 3,000 range. And with this one card, you just blank. You make it so level 4 normal summons can walk over them. Say nothing of the fact that it's reusable every turn. I like that it's recyclable. 1,000 life points isn't much. It's kind of a hard sell because it still doesn't affect the board state, but I think that means that it's going to be a weird side deck pick that someone's going to come up with, and they're going to pair it with something like Bujin Susanoo, and then just like nuke an entire field of giant monsters with it.
I love that.
God, is there anything else that I'm missing? I know you mentioned another one.
Mahavilo.
Greater polymerization and Mahavilo.
Oh god, the Mahavilo one. My thoughts on greater polymerization are that I always love remixes of polymerization, and this one's gonna be very interesting in specific situations. I like the idea of giving it to Frightful Wolf so that it has piercing as well as multiple attacks.
They do the same thing with they're saying to do the same thing with Vision Hero Trinity, because it's a 5,000 beat stick.
Oh yeah!
And can attack 3 times anyway.
So if anything needed piercing, it was Trinity.
Yep.
Okay, so it's equipped cards. It's 1,000 for each equipped card. Oh my god. Your opponent cannot activate monster effects during the battle phase. Stupid good. If your opponent activates a card effect, targets this card. If this was level 4, this would be seeing play in something.
Level 8.
Or it'd be an equipped spell good deck that would run this.
Well,
yeah, but now it's 8, so it's like any deck with Magician's Soul can bin this, and then you can revive it though. So that's not a huge traction against it. Activates card effect targets that you can send it. Okay, well, it negates, but only things that target it. So that's not as good as just being immune to targeting.
Mm-hmm.
Before your opponent's monster can activate during battle phase. Oh, okay. If it's 2+, your opponent can activate monster effects, but if it's 4+, they just can't activate effects at all. Okay.
Yeah.
And then 5, any battle damage this card inflicts is doubled. Okay, so if you manage to stack this with 5 equipped cards, if they don't give it any kind of bonus, that's a 6,550 point monster that deals double battle damage. Okay, so what I'm hearing here is that
on top of whatever,
on top of everything else that it does. Right, so we're playing Magician's Sword. We're playing Magician's Soul's Bamboo Sword Turbo with the new Mahavilo. and it's going to be Exodia Turbo because we're also going to be putting Royal Magical Library, and we're going to be drawing a bunch of cards. So this is our alternate win condition for Exodia Turbo. God, not good, but I love it. And then oh yeah, I would give them like I would give them C's, all things considered. There's some cool things here. Nothing that really shakes things up, but nostalgia-wise, it is really cool. And I have to admit, seeing Maha Vilo come back over all these years after being a staple of kitchen table Yu-Gi-Oh! Is outstanding. So I am down with putting that in C tier. How does everyone else feel about that? Let's start with JC.
I couldn't agree more with everything you've said with these cards in general. It's kind of funny almost that I feel like you were hyping them up and then you were like, so yeah, that's C tier, but it makes sense.
That's my brand. I've done that.
These aren't actually good in like a, of course, meta sense or super impactful. I feel like you said, later down the road, the Rotat or, in my opinion, Greater Polymerization are the two cards that'll probably be the like random cards that are good one day. But overall, C tier makes sense for me, especially right now. Jello, as the one who probably would want to use these cards the most, being the hero person, how are you feeling about this C tier rank on these cards?
So, if we were grading these cards individually, I'd like to put some cards higher and some cards lower. Like Fat Guy said, there have been some funny hero builds that run Rotat and then just slap a Stratos on the field after for like either like the only thing that I could see it doing is either searching out an Honest Neos for for a really big attack, or blowing up back row since you're probably full field anyway. So there's that. Greater Polymerization, probably, like you guys said, could probably see more use in the future. And I just love Maha Vilo. There's a certain nostalgia factor that I have personally in terms of connection to it. So seeing it as one of these sort of... It's the equipped spell version of Armed Dragon Thunder level 10. Basically, right? Because it just keeps stacking up. So I just wanna play that, slap 5 equipped spells on it, and then put down maybe like Mystic Mine. See where that goes.
Bruh.
But yeah, I agree with C tier as a collective. C for collective.
So, are we finalized, Nova, with that C tier? Because
just
we're all
move War Rocks
in
down a
agreement.
little further, please. I don't want it touching my
Yeah,
legacy
just
support.
I know there's still empty space. Just
There we go.
I agree. Don't let it touch.
Jello, second to last individual one on the floor, and I pulled a 1. What are the odds? How are you feeling that Trishula became the special Starlight of the set? I think this argument comes more so in terms of the choice of it being our one reprint Starlight over any other. I guess they were kind of doing a series of hand traps almost. So how are you feeling with this one being it?
I don't like it because Trishula is coming out, getting another print in the structure deck that's coming out in less than 2 weeks. So even if that was a common, if people are using this for application, then I'd rather just run the common. And I remember I feel like people were pretty pissed when they saw Trishula was that hand trap Starlight spot instead of, Ash or another one of the Spirit Charmers or something. And I personally would have liked to get one of those more than Trish. So I feel like this is just to hype up the Ice Barrier structure deck because I feel like almost everyone forgot about it until they released the deck list, and then everybody just wanted to forget about it because there were no what do you call it? Cross out designators in it. So yeah, I'd put it in E or F just because people don't like it and I don't like it either.
Okay. Nova. How are you feeling about that E or F status for this being the Starlight choice for the set?
So I have a lot of things about Starlight Rare as a rarity as it exists in the larger game. I feel like it exists purely to not add a lot of value to the game, but to make a higher rarity chase card for the secondary market, and just to sell more sealed product, as opposed to doing actual good alternate art things that they could be doing. The fact that they have some alternate arts is a step in the right direction, but I would like to see more stuff like alternate frames, bringing back Ultimate Rare, which they know we want.
Which they've been doing
instead
with
of just
rares. Honestly.
Yeah. I've never held a Starlight Rare in my hands aside from the ones that came out of the sarcophagus tickets. I don't know if those technically the same thing.
Pretty much. It just doesn't extend to the border. So they're basically prismatic secret rares all the way through.
Okay, so, and I don't know if that's like, I don't know if just adding that sheen on there equates to how monumental it would be, the luck it would require to pull that out of a pack. So I don't like that. I also don't like that they added reprints to core sets, which they never do. They did it specifically for the almost impossible to pull card. And then it seemed like there was going to be a theme. It was the first one was Effect Veiler, then there was DD Crow. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we're reprinting old hand traps. That's cool. Then it was a Hita Link monster, and I'm like, oh, cool. We have no theming here, and now we have. This is the next one, right? Like, am I missing one?
We had Area and Asa, I believe. I think all four of the old ones have already had them.
So like,
but they were like in their sets, right? The reason they did Hita is because in her original set she was the only one without a Starlight.
Oh, that's true.
But I don't think you're missing one, Nova. But if you are, that must have been even less important than this Trishula, if we can't even remember it, since there is no theming or anything.
Yeah. So I look at this and I'm like, I hate this. It's not an alternate art, which I think deserves it after the legacy that Trishula has had in this game, for better or for worse. I just don't like Starlight Rare as a concept, how it's been executed, and as a rarity. And then they chose Trishula specifically because of the structure deck that's coming out. I agree with Jello on this one. They chose it because of another set that's coming out recently, instead of some other kind of meta-relevant card that anyone could use. Anyone could use Effect Veiler. Anyone could use DD Crow. But he really specific to run Trishula.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an F on this one. I don't like it.
Both of you brought up different but good points, and I think another point for me that is also like different and hopefully good of a point is Trishula specifically doesn't need to be in a Starlight Rare, also because it has the DT version and an Ultimate Rare printing and like 3 different secret rare printings. This thing is such a high rarity printed card already that I've seen in multiple Facebook groups. People are like, what's considered max rarity with Trishula now that there's 3 actual very potential max rarities, being the dual terminal, the Ultimate Rare, and this, because like where, like, you know what I mean? It's just, this already has the ceiling met when in terms of a collector getting this card and being satisfied with how it looks. And also Starlight Rares are pretty ugly. I mean, I know they're elusive and everything, but I personally don't like them. I'll change my mind immediately the second I ever pull one. But for now, I think, yeah, we're all in agreement that this should go in Jello, you said E or F.
Yeah.
Nova said F, and I agree with F.
Yeah, put it in F. Because it's also
F
filler. F for filler.
And then I think it's quite poetic that the final card goes to the person who is quite big brain here, if nothing to go on his vocabulary alone. Math Trap. How do you feel about this card? the existence of it in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think is the biggest talking point. Not even just in this set, but the fact that this card exists.
Yeah, so Jello, JC was talking about you, so can we get your opinion on this, please?
Error 404, Jello cannot be found.
No, this is going right in the S slot for me. This is going to be I'm gonna be going to events, and the night beforehand, I'm not gonna be checking my deck lists. I'm not gonna be second guessing my side deck picks. I've already got that figured out. I've got a deck of flashcards of different field setups, so I can remember the right card number to call to make exact usage of linear equation canon. Because it's just. If you boil it down, I know it's a giant textbook. It's just non-targeting field bouncing for multiple targets. It's really good. And if you don't understand it, then I don't even know why you're playing at locals. Come on. S tier.
Jello, how are you feeling about that S tier with this card?
Run this in an Endymion deck, and people will just not want to play against you. They'll just drop. Because they don't want to read the walls of text.
Reading and calculating.
Exactly. It's over. You win.
Giant text tribal.
Yeah, you're countering the game. You don't need to counter in meta when your opponent doesn't want to play the game against you. S tier. Put that
it's
right
a hard
up there.
Counter against a player. It's the first hard counter against a player themselves, as opposed to any deck you're running.
Yeah, it's
so
also a hard counter
that,
against War Rocks, because they're Unga Bunga, and this is like the it's fitting that they added the most simple deck and the most complicated card I've ever seen in the same set. Man. All right.
And with that, the final rating. This isn't the end card, guys. Thanks for sticking around this long. This took a lot longer than I think all of us imagined, but it's been very fun, so I don't regret it. But what do we rate the set as an entire whole in, I guess, Yu-Gi-Oh's canon of set releases of all time? Where do we rate this set?
Down there with Trishula.
I'm
kidding.
I guess I'll technically start, since it would be like my turn, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I think in the canon of all sets, because I don't remember 2019 sets, right?
Yeah.
My squirrel brain doesn't remember that far back. But I think this is probably a D set. I want to say E and F are actual bomb sets that are $20 below MSRP 2 years after they release, right? This is a core set. They're usually relatively strong compared to all sets ever. And I do think this set overall isn't super impactful with the metagame. I know earlier at the very beginning of this podcast, Nova I think he said it well, or maybe Jello said it at this point, I don't remember, but someone mentioned that this set isn't impacting the meta too greatly, especially coming off the heels of Phantom Rage, but it still has some decent cards in it. So that's why I'm thinking D, because in my mind, D isn't bad. It's just that C through S are better sets that actually mean more to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole. So since I'm piggybacking off of kind of what I may remember or I may not remember what Nova said, Nova, how do you feel with this set being rated in Yu-Gi-Oh's history, I guess we're going with for this?
I think D is a perfectly fine one. And I know earlier I had the my point for that was not every set is going to be game breaking, despite you having to pay the same amount of money for all of them. And I hate giving corporations excuses for stuff like this. No, screw them. They should be making sure that every product is at least fun and enjoyable every time, even if it isn't just competitively super viable. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just enough here. I'm struggling to think of a pack that was just really horrible that would have caused something like this. I'm sure there's a deck build pack, I'm pretty sure the one that Nephthys came out at. No, that had Prankids in it. That was pretty good.
Yeah, the Duelist Pack Dimension Guardians is like
Yeah.
I
That's
think the
pretty
worst set in recent
down there.
memory. Because it had only reprints, I think, that were lower rarity, so like no cards held value much. That's a whole other discussion. But I think that's the only one that comes to mind though. But I definitely agree that it's probably a side set that would be E and F tier. But again, this set still isn't garbage, so that's why it's not like in the E and F slot.
Yeah.
But Jello.
So yeah, I definitely say D. It's
D.
got just really good. We've gone through all the ones that are just individual pieces of legacy support, individual pieces of just random remixes of older cards. I think we proved that this set does have some value. It's just not going to be like the Invasion Vengeance of the format or the Shining Victories of a format, stuff like that. Sorry, go ahead.
And what are you feeling with this?
Well, I have to be a little biased because Lila and Rapachiyomaru are in this set, but considering
Valid.
the amount of doo-doo that pooped out of that was pooped out in this, I can't really give it anything higher than a B. But since you guys are giving it a D, I would give it a C just to meet halfway, because we still do get some. We still do get some fun cards out of this set. I just don't think, because I feel like we're still just on the high of Konami's quote unquote best year of sealed product ever. So if we were to look, if we're like, especially in recent memory with recency bias and everything, this set will look really bad beside Phantom Rage, which, made Phantom Knights unbearable to play against. Then we had before that was
Welcome.
Rise of the Duelist that gave us what did it give us? It gave us TTT and
Gaia.
And oh yeah, Gaia, the most meta breaking deck out of that
Absolutely.
set. And Dogmaticas and Forbidden Droplets, and then before that we had Eternity Code with Access Code Talker, and we had Lightning Storm out of Ignition Assault. So I think it's really hard to compare it to other sets, but on its own, it's just a regular set. I wouldn't say it's great because of all the crap that's in it, but it does still have some good stuff, so I would give it a C.
Since you did say C, I think this is a collaborative effort. This isn't like I have the floor, so I get final say.
Yeah.
Me and Nova agreed with D, so I'm going to give it the highest D possible. I think that's the fairest assessment of this, because I feel like C is just like more than one, like $70 plus secret rare in the set. I hate to base it just based off of value, but this is a little bit below what I would expect usually from a booster ultimately. So with that, guys, that is our Blazing Vortex tier list. It took, like I said, a little longer than we thought, but
quite a bit longer.
Very good discussion with this.
Good first run. Could use revisions.
Yeah. We'll down something exactly. We'll revise it going forward, but I think this is fun to do potentially for at least course.
I loved it. This was great.
But just let me know when you want me to get off this when you have the format back to normal.
I'm going to put.
I have a request real quick, actually, before we can.
Okay.
Get off this.
Yeah.
JC, could you take the beaver and could you make it really big right now, real quick?
Just give me one second. I'll bring it forward.
Yeah, bring it forward. Okay, now can you take Blazing Vortex and just put it right where the little orange guy is, so that he's snacking on it?
The beaver treats.
There you go. I think that's a good compromise of where we want to keep Blazing Vortex right now.
There we go. Yeah.
About to be eaten by a giant beaver.
It's damn material. That's why it's in D.
This is good. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna put the curtain up. All right, JC, just let me know when. Actually, I can see anything. I can see it.
Oh.
Okay, we opened up a wormhole again. Okay, and there we go. Back to just the three of our faces, and I need to get this out. Okay, so we have taken a lot of time out of your day, guys, and so we're just going to blaze through the rest of the topics that we had, so that we don't have to talk about them next time when they're no longer relevant. So the other things that we wanted to talk about, the Ice Barrier structure deck, since that's coming out in less than a month. How do you guys feel about that deck? I'm just going to, let's just shoot off like 2-3 sentences. I'll start with, I love the new Trishula. I don't know how well it's going to age, because everybody's saying that literally this is sort of like the Spirit Charmer structure deck, where people are just getting it for whatever reprints are in here, even more so than, I guess, Spirit Charmers, because a pointer of the Red Lotus is in this, so that's probably one of the only buying points of this set. But yeah, I don't feel very confident in the next structure deck that's coming up. What about you guys?
Happy that this ended up being Plunder Patrols the structure deck. It's gonna be very good.
Banking off of that,
Silent Angler.
yeah, Silent Angler. Yeah. I'm looking at the set list right now, and my only thing is I'm glad Surface is getting a reprint. I think that's been consistently like a $2 super that I just haven't pulled the trigger on buying. So now I get it by buying this structure deck. And also GNX Undyne, not the most expensive, because it comes in common already, but it's more accessible now because I think it's $1 or $2. So yeah, reprints, I think that perfectly encapsulates the fact that this deck will probably be purchased mainly for the reprints. I think we're all basically in agreement for that. Nova more so, I guess, the reprints to use for Plunder Patrol.
Yeah. Fat Guy Yu-Gi-Oh says no cross out like OCG. Yeah, that was the biggest cop of the year so far.
I will say, with the no cross out, I believe I saw somewhere that they replaced it with a when the structure decks come out in the OCG and then they get a V-Jump promo that's like works with the structure decks. V-Jump promo is already in the structure deck, so we actually get one more new Ice Barrier card. So that's probably the best replacement I've seen in a long time for this.
All right, not worth, but.
Oh, well, then thank God we got the Ice Barrier one. Who knows how long that deck wouldn't be playable then? But it.
Okay, let's not linger here too long. Did you have anything?
No.
Okay, so last thing to talk about, guys, Ghosts to come, because it's not released yet. But Ghosts from the Past, we have 3 potential leaks. One of them is already confirmed in Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. I don't know if we confirmed this before the show started, and I just wasn't listening because I'm stupid. But we had some leaks for Dark Magician Girl just today, and Black Luster Soldier of Chaos. One thing that I want to say that no one will probably believe me for is I always had a feeling once Maximum Gold came out and they didn't reprint Soldier of Chaos that it would come out in this set in one form or another. I'm kind of sad that they made it as inaccessible as a Ghost Rare, so I'm really nervous to see how they distribute the Ghost Rares. But I'm glad that it's getting a reprint and that prices for the secret are dropping slowly, and I will pick them up as soon. I don't care which rarity I get. I'll just get one as soon as it hits, rock bottom in terms of price. And other than that, the set doesn't seem to be very enticing for me outside of the Ghost Rares. Sadly, I've fallen into the trap of chasing chase cards, but I need them in my life. Well, what do you guys think?
It's so hard to tell right now because I'm looking at the product page on their site right now. And the ghost rares are nice. Anything as a ghost rare is going to look outstanding. But it's a 132 card set. 45 of them are going to be new cards, and we don't know which archetypes are going to be added in here. We can speculate that it's going to be something like Sun Avalons or something. But until then, it's hard to really get a focus on the deck. Like, will there be a reason to get ghosts from the past aside from getting absolutely gorgeous alternative dragons? I'm hoping. There's clearly a bunch of dark support in here. They've confirmed that at least Fogblade, Requiem, Ixes Dragon, and Raid Raptor Tribute Lanius are going to be there. I know that Tribute Lanius, from when I did the Raid Raptor video, is still stupid expensive for some reason, and they need that. That's great. But I hope that they continue with good reprints on that one for now. So I'm still on the fence about it.
I am so tired of the Dark Magician and Blue Eyes stuff in existence. I know the next logical progression, and this is a large fandom as well, is more GX stuff. I know we kind of get hero stuff regularly enough. I personally, I think I would gravitate more towards 5Ds as my favorite, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series. But overall, and I understand from a marketing standpoint, and this is a whole other topic for another time because again, we are very over time. But from a marketing standpoint, it makes sense because people in general, like the random basic person who sees the packs at like Walmart, gravitate towards what they know, and what they know is what they grew up watching, which is the original Yu-Gi-Oh! DM. So that's why they keep pounding in that nostalgia, but I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. The fact that all these ghost slots are taken up. I will say the Link Monster, even though it's an exception, it's still not any easier to get because it's already like a $80 secret rare or something like that. So I don't like this set. I believe Sun Avalon is confirmed for the set, and again, like how you mentioned, the dark just support for, I guess, the what is it, Arc 5, like dark theme kind of, but over Arc V, Arc 5, whatever, but it's late and I'm tired of these DM reprints and stuff. But overall, unless I learn more about the set in terms of just like when the whole set releases, I'm not happy about the set, and I probably won't open a single pack, unless of course a Lost Art is pretty good at the time and I go to my locals and get it just to get the Lost Art or something. But overall, I don't like this set so far, but I know that's coming from a standpoint where not a lot is released, so that's very tentative. But if nothing changes with this and it's all just the same, then no thank you. That's my stance.
All right. I just want to add that I'm still holding out hope that the second archetype will be the Holy Knights, because I like that archetype a lot. Go watch GoldenNova's video on that and you'll understand why. And I just want to toss Santa Claus in there and see how that will work. But we only have 4 of the 5 ghost rares revealed, and going off of what's been revealed, the only other thing that would process of deduction, you get Dark Magician, blue eyes, and then red eyes. So last thing before we go our separate ways, what do you think the 5th ghost will be? Fat Guy says the last ghost will be Slifer the Sky Dragon. I have 2 things in mind. It'll either be the super basic red eyes answer, or maybe we could get Dragoon as a ghost, because people would eat that up. Because right now this set does not look tasty to anybody, but if we got a ghost Dragoon, that would be freaking insane.
That would look nasty good. Oh my gosh.
It'll barely look like anything, to be honest. But I mean, yeah, it'll look really good.
Um, I I think that if any normal level 7 dragon monster has to be ghost rared in the set that could have Holy Knights, I want to see Sayuri was a ghost rare.
Okay.
That would be so not. I don't know if it'll even look good because that old kind of it's very flat. So I don't know if it'll have that 3D look in there. It'll look not good, but it'll be hilarious when it does.
I find the artwork so beautiful with like the green and pink that like I 100% agree that if it's a ghost, I don't know what would be going for this normal monster, but I like that a lot. I think just based off of like the scientific mind deep hidden in the recesses behind all the stupid in my mind, I think Armed Dragon level 10 is going to be the ghost rare. It's confirmed in the set, just like Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. That also might mean that it's definitely not a ghost rare because it's not like, oh, a ghost rare, Blue Eyes Alternative and Armed Dragon level 10. But the fact that Blazing Vortex, Armed Dragon support, I think it'd be interesting to see it as the final ghost rare. And I think it would make sense to me. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Nova, do you have anything to comment on this?
I feel like we were thinking the same thing.
Serious answer?
Oh.
First, I want to.
Okay. Because I remember, I don't know if it was 7 or 10, but one of the higher level Armed Dragons was already confirmed as an ultimate rare in OTS 15, which I completely forgot about until this very
Yeah,
moment.
it was. Yeah, that was 10. Yeah.
So I don't know whether or not they would want to do that. Maybe they would, but then you'd have people like, oh, we'll just get the ultimate rares because at least we can see that thing. I would personally like say Yaru and, you know, just have Konami not print the art on it and we wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. So it'll just give us like an empty foiled card and that'll be it. But yeah.
Noah, what JC was talking about, how his idea about them making it a ghost rare because of Blazing Vortex's Armed Dragons. I'm like, well, wait a sec. They have Fogblade in there. From the Fogblade's like one of the reprints, so maybe that's not the ghost rare. But then they also have another Link monster that's a ghost rare that looks really good. So what if we get Ghost Rusty Bardiche? I would flip. I would go crazy. You would get me on this podcast for that, and it would be an hour of me going just and have to like turn off my mic, and I would just be in the background just doing loops.
That'd be
so good.
We could do that for a week where like JC and I aren't feeling well, and and we could just have you.
1 hour of Nova screaming into the void.
So we said our decisions on our predictions on what the ghost rares would be, but I know for a fact at the end of the day that it will be Trishula as the ghost rare, the final ghost rare of the set. And I think that's the perfect closer of today's podcast.
Need to get out. Oh, I can't get out. My side table's stuck. Oh man.
I return begrudgingly.
Watch all of this just be a ploy. Like Konami goes, people have been spreading cards out lately way too much. So we're just going to put out these cards that aren't actual. We'll print like one-ofs of these cards. Spread them throughout the internet and then have everyone think that this is what we're going to do and then just bamboozle everybody the second that they release the set. Like, you thought those were real? We got you. We got you.
We have leaks. We have special leaks.
Yeah. I want to be quoted on that when that happens. Quote me right now. 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 9 seconds into this podcast. Oh man. Anyway, guys, that is it for this episode of In the Yu-Gi-Oh! It was so long, but it honestly felt just as long as any other episode for me because I was having so much fun and cackling more than half the time. So do you gentlemen have anything that you want to say to our lovely audience before we say goodbye?
Thank you to everyone who stuck around while I made things a lot more complicated than they had to be for the tier list. And thank you for joining us in this journey of talking about some beaver. JC, what's your thoughts?
Thank you again, the audience. Number one, thank you guys for watching. I will say though, with Nova explaining how he did for the tier list, I think that's a lot more entertaining than me going, I don't know what this archetype does. Where do I rate this? So I feel like we all complete each other with the tier list very well. That was very fun. Again, it felt very short, but I have to pee like you wouldn't believe. Fun fact, I read it somewhere way in the past. If you're like stranded somewhere and you don't pee for like a very, 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 very long time, your bladder like forces yourself not to go because it thinks something's wrong. I know I'm not physically there, but mentally I feel like I'll get there soon. So so this has been a really fun experience though. Jello.
Thank you for the biology lesson. I'll make sure to use that in the future.
Impress your friends. Yay.
The more you know.
Jello. Looks like you're gonna close this out here.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go through the chat real quick. Thank you to everybody that joined us tonight, starting with Tario Frast, Dancho, like Simon, artist with a fro. It's a lot of them for a while. John R. We had Faiz Amzar. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Oh my god, we had JC Theater YGO in the chat for a little bit. And we had, of course, Noble Chaos. We had Fat Guy Yu-Gi-Oh! We had The Great Channel, but I feel like they just jumped in here and then left because they said Tom Brady wins. You can't deny he is the greatest. Patrick Mahomes is overrated, and then never said anything after that. Pro 6 WG.
Super Bowl energy right there.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, even if it was only for a fleeting moment. But that is it, guys. Stay tuned to all three of our channels for everything that is going on. JC doesn't want to say it, but I believe you have an upload coming soon, unless I have this wrong.
I do, but also I haven't edited, so it's slated for the 10th, but we will see.
And Golden Nova,
Godspeed. I've been there.
Golden Nova, any projects you have coming up?
No video Tuesday. I don't have the energy and time for it, but this Friday we are going to be doing. I need to do the cover card for Lightning Overdrive before something else comes out. So we are doing Utopia Explained. And the Tuesday after that, we should be getting Trains Explained with guest star Peeps Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm looking very forward to showing that off to everyone.
All right, and as always, you guys know what's happening on my channel. It's more sealed only, but out of the box with JC Theater YGO and GoldenNovaYugioh. I am in the works of planning a script for part 2 of How to Vanguard, and I misplaced a lot of my stash for Zero to Hero. I've already done the opening, and it's super hype. I opened up that Raw Yellow Mega Pack that JC sent me for Christmas, and it was... So, yeah, that is it, guys. Thank you again so much for listening to all of our bickering, our old men bickering for tonight. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Same time, same place. Hopefully not as long. But that is it. You guys are now in...
The
out of the box.
Hey, no, that's not fair. I've been practicing this.
Oh.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys. Okay, so